Hello out there, PTG Universe. We're so glad to have you. Thank you for tuning in. We have an amazing show for you guys today with Kyle Spicka, one of the biggest names in paintball and one of the best snake players to ever play the game. In my humble opinion, he has done a lot of huge things for paintball and for the community and has a spectacular story of how he made it into the pro leagues, which we're super excited to share with you guys. So before we get started, we wanted to let you know that this show is brought to you by our newest sponsor, who is Heal Brand CBD. And they are an amazing CBD company and a CBD powerhouse for that matter. They're doing amazing things in the landscape of CBD, and they're aspiring to disrupt outdated ideas in that landscape, which is exactly what they're doing, and doing some pretty noble things as well, like protecting the hemp farmers by giving them a trustworthy outlet to sell their hemp crops to. And they've come up with some pretty spectacular stuff. One of them is called Nano CBD, which is what they have incorporated into their brand. Heal brand has the most high quality nano CBD. It is water soluble, has the ultimate absorption rate into your body, and is true nanotechnology. And what nanotechnology is, it's the process of taking raw hemp oil, putting it through an additional refinement to break up the large CBD particles into microscopic greatness, which is more easily accepted into your body. It's able to pass through the cell walls easier, and it gets into your system just about immediately, as opposed to regular CBD that can take hours or even days to really start to circulate into your system because of the size of the molecules passing through those cell walls. Nano CBD provides you with a faster CBD reaction. You have a more complete absorption into your endocannabinoid system, and a little bit of this stuff goes a long way, which is going to save you a lot of money, and you don't have to use very much. You only use a few drops of nano CBD as opposed to having to use full tinctures, full droppers, which I think is really, really cool. And I have really enjoyed using it. It's helped me to recover quicker, and it helps me sleep really well at night. So I'm absolutely loving this stuff. They have also a nano hemp energy shot, which is called the AMP energy shot. And it has, obviously nano hemp, vitamin B, vitamin C, ginger, and other natural flavors to help give you a huge boost. They're really awesome little shots. I think they're only like $3 or $4. If you get on a subscription, I know there's a discount, but it's really cost effective to give a try and check out. And then to couple that, they also have Nano Knockout Sleep Aid, which I am absolutely addicted to. This stuff is amazing for helping to just, every few nights, I'll take it, and it just knocks me out, and I have amazing sleep. I have amazing dreams, and it is just spectacular stuff. And it obviously has the nano hemp in it with melatonin and other natural flavors. And it's really doing spectacular stuff. And as well, they also have CBD for pets to help out your animals and your pet friends, and also cool down creams for your muscles, which are great for me as an athlete. If I get sore muscles, I rub that on, and my muscles feel amazing. And everybody deserves an opportunity to heal, and that's what this company is doing. Heal Brand is doing amazing things. They want to heal the world, and we want to help them. So everybody go check them out. You can go to healbrand.com. If you use code PLAYTHEGAME, you'll get 10% off on any orders, and it's a great way to support them and support the show. So we absolutely love them, and thank you, Heal Brand, for everything you're doing. The show is also brought to you by the spectacular Transfuse. I'm sure you guys have heard us talk about Transfuse quite a bit. Actually, in this show, towards the end, Kyle is a huge advocate of it as well. And we were talking about how, people probably think that we're just blowing smoke, but this stuff is seriously the best hydration formula ever comprised that I've ever taken. And not only that, but it helps you on so many different levels as well, with mental clarity and with an immunity boost, which is fundamental right now. I mean, we're going through these crazy times with COVID, and everybody needs to make sure their immunity is boosted, and Transfuse is doing that. So what Transfuse is it's a rapid hydration multiplier and immunity fortifying formula that is scientifically designed to help you replenish at the cellular level. And the thing that I love the most about it, it's all natural ingredients. So I know it's good for me. I don't put anything into my body that isn't all natural or isn't doing me a service. And, unless it's been a long week of paintball and I have to slop down some fast food, which happens every once in a while. But for the most part, I'm being pretty healthy, which I'm proud of. It combats dehydration, mental exhaustion. It supports your immune system and is also a sweet little hangover remedy. If you ever drink a little too much, you have some Transfuse and you're going to be back up and kicking. It has zinc, which is an essential vitamin in regulating immunity, treating the common cold, and it improves brain function and memory. So it's really spectacular stuff what Transfuse is doing. Also has vitamin C to help with your immune system, 1,500 milligrams, which is a heavy punch to keep you strong and booming into the future. And like Emergency only has 1,000 milligrams. This packet has 1,500, which is really awesome. It's like Gatorade, coconut water, Emergency, all came together, and Pedialyte even, and had this amazing powerhouse formula, and they called it Transfuse, and it's been taking over. So we're super happy to be working with them and appreciate everything that they've been doing. If you go to translabs.com and you use the code PLAYTHEGAME, you'll get 10% off. In addition to that, if you subscribe to getting Transfuse on a monthly subscription, they'll also take another 11% off, I think it is. So total, it's a 21% discount if you use code PLAYTHEGAME and you subscribe for a monthly subscription. So log in there, see if it's right for you, check out what they got going on. It's really amazing stuff. Once again, that's translabs.com, translabs.com. Use code PLAYTHEGAME and get dialed in with them. Thank you, Transfuse. You guys are absolutely amazing. And I'm super excited to talk to you guys about our last sponsor of the show, definitely not least, G2 Paintball. Absolutely love Victor Gamboa and Rusty Glaze, everything they're doing for the paintball landscape. It is a paintball athletics company, and it's never been done before. There's never been anything quite like G2, and I'm so proud to be a part of the company and be helping out in any way that I can. They're a paintball athletics company designed to help you become the best paintball athlete. And we actually have some clinics, some camps that we're running right now in Arizona. We have one this Sunday, actually, the 30th, out at AZ Battle Zone. And we will be out there from 5 in the morning till 11 a.m. And we will be kicking some butt out there. It is definitely not an easy thing, but if you want to play at the top level in any division, you just have to be ready to, it's not going to be easy. It's in life, anything in life, if you want good things to happen, it's not going to be easy, and you got to work. So that's what we're doing, is we're working you out in all of the athletic movements that you're going to make as a paintball player. It's just like if you were training to be the best football player or soccer player or any sport, you have to train specifics for that sport. So that's what we're doing with G2 Paintball. And it's taking athleticism in paintball to the next level, and I'm super proud, like I said, to be a part of it. We're training to maximize your performance on and off the field. You're not only going to feel great when you play paintball, you're going to be dominating on the field, but also off the field, you're going to feel great as well because you've been working out and doing these paintball-specific moves and staying in good shape, which is also very important during these times. It's used by Dynasty, and we're pushing paintball players to become better athletes and go pro. We want to make sure we have a strong pro division moving into the future, and G2 is helping to allow us to do that. So you can log in to g2paintball.com. Please go over there and give them a look. And if you're in the Arizona area or even not in the Arizona area and want to make a little adventure into AZ and hang out with us, myself, Victor Gamboa, Rusty Glaze, and Brandon Unger, we are all training out here in Arizona at Wild West Paintball and at Battle Zone Paintball. So right now the schedule is August 16th. We already did that one at Wild West. The next one is this Sunday, August 30th at Battle Zone. And then we will be at Wild West Paintball on September 12th. And then September 27th back at Battle Zone. October 11th we'll be at Wild West Paintball. And then October 25th we'll be back at Battle Zone. So please go over to g2paintball.com. Give them a look and sign up for some of these training courses. It is unparalleled what we're doing. We're teaching you everything that we know. I'm downloading every player that comes out to these clinics with everything that I know from my 20 years of playing paintball. I've been playing professionally since I was 14 years old. I'm 31 years old now, and I am giving it all away. I want you guys to inherit these little tips and tricks that I've learned, and I'm very honored to be able to do this with G2 Paintball. So huge shout out to G2 Paintball. Thank you guys so much. And without further ado, man, let's get rocking and rolling and hanging out with Kyle Spicka. He's a legend, and we cannot wait for you to hear this show. So let's rock.
That was an insane inside move by Marcelo Margot. Great communication. And the crowd starts chanting Harmon. Great shot by all the guys. So Tyler Harmon saved that game. He came out with 2 wins. Marcelo Margot was on fire.
Kyle Spicka, baby, my little warrior. I miss you so much, man. It's been forever. How are you doing, Kai?
Good, man. Excited to be on here.
Hell yeah,
big
dude.
dog. We've been waiting for you.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. It's an honor. Thank you, Kyle, for coming on. You're
of course.
a huge inspiration for the paintball community. We'll get into your story and everything. But before we get into all that, how's everything in San Diego? You guys aren't too far apart from each other. Marcelo and Kyle, you kind of live in the same vicinity. So how's it going out there?
It's good, man. I feel like, and Marcelo knows too, like paintball, like clinics and that type of stuff has started to get back pumping again. Like, it's still a little odd, just eerie, just the way things are going. But now I'm feeling like we're kind of getting used to everything, which is also odd in itself. But, other than that, I'm just, I'm finishing up. I'm back at school, finishing up. I only had like 2 or 3 semesters left at San Diego State University for my business degree. Yeah.
That's huge, man.
Nice.
Yeah,
Wow.
It's all the major. I'm getting into all the deep major coursework though. So now I'm holding good grades, and now this is the true test.
Yeah. You got to crunch down right now. So how's that going? What's going on in school right now?
So basically, as far as COVID goes, like I just started at San Diego State in spring, and I went on campus and got that whole experience, and then towards the middle of the semester, obviously, it was right when we got back from Vegas is when they shut everything down. Like I remember the date because they shut the school down, like just randomly out of one day, March 15th, like everything's going online. We'll figure it out.
We'll be back in a couple weeks.
Yeah, exactly. And I took a couple summer classes. And then I got all my fall classes, which were actually scheduled for, on campus. And they're like, no, we can't do it. We only have they only offer 200 classes on campus right now. And it's all for engineer and science students and whatnot, hands-on stuff. So,
dude, that's crazy. That's such a big accomplishment, dude. Doing that.
Dude, it's wild. And, I know you guys like to do go into the whole story background, but so I'll get into that. The whole school thing was a pretty wild trip. I mean, I did 2 years at community college and then just got into San Diego State, but
that's huge, bro.
Yeah, it's been wild, but I think, honestly for paintball, online school is good.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, it gives you the flexibility to be able to travel because
I'm loving it right now. Yeah,
totally. Hey, Kyle, and so sorry to our viewers. It's weird. It sounded good before we started recording, but I think your mic is just a little too close. It's pretty loud.
Okay.
I don't know if we can move it down a little bit. I'm sorry about that, dude. That's my bad.
Let's try.
Yeah.
And San Diego State
this was my bad.
How's it here?
No, that sounds.
Go ahead, Kyle.
Yeah, good. Check.
Yeah,
Too far?
now it's a little far, but I think it's better than.
I can get it a little bit closer.
Oh yeah, wherever it is right there sounds great. Sounds money.
Right here is good. There's no feedback. All right, cool.
Oh, dude, sweet. Yeah,
so diving back into San Diego State.
Real quick, sorry to get off page right here, but it's funny, and we could talk about this too, but I got an Xbox at the beginning of COVID because I'm like, I need something to do. And I didn't have the good headphones you need to play Call of Duty, which everyone's been playing. So I was using this exact setup to play Call of Duty, and I play with Nick Laval and Mouse and those guys a lot, and they're getting so mad at me because this thing literally this mic would pick up Sloan and Ryan and doing whatever in the living room, and they're like, dude, you need to shut them up. I was like, I can't, it's for the mic.
Yeah, that mic is so good. That's what we use to film any sort of BKI courses when you're out at the field and it's kind of muffled. It's so loud.
Yeah.
So loud.
I was actually going to ask you about playing video games in this conversation. Do you think it has gives you a little edge on the paintball field or what?
Dude, what's kind of funny is that
it has to.
I think it might. Well, I think what it helps is the team aspect, as far as communication and working. Because I mean, most of the people I think out there like play this format, this Call of Duty Warzone format. Are you guys familiar with how it works?
Yeah, I was just on the phone with Ronnie Dizon earlier today. We had like a 45-minute conversation. He was telling me, but I think he wants to go pro. He wants to become a professional video gamer, dude. He's obsessed.
I mean, he's with how he is with social media. Like he that's something he could do, especially like Twitch and whatnot. But going off what you said, it's pretty funny. So like, it's like notorious that girlfriends hate,
of course,
call it like video games, especially this game.
And they don't want you twiddling those sticks. They want you twiddling something. I'm sorry, I had to take it.
So I started dating this girl in May, and we were dating for a little while, and then I kind of like hid the video games, like only did it when she wasn't there, and then like slowly like working it, and obviously she wasn't super stoked about it eventually, and then finally I was like, look, I can't go to the gym, I can't play paintball, this game is so hard, and when you win, for me it's like the gratification that I get when playing paintball, and I don't have that right now. So like the few times that I can go to the paintball field, cool, but like and it's not like I'm playing it all day, I'm still working.
Well, you had to let her know. You had to let her know.
But like there is a cool sense of it, like you get that competing feeling, that you're there's like it's really hard to win that game, and that gives you like that sense of like that you're competing, even though with the crazy time. So
it's a challenge. It's a challenge, and there's a sense of camaraderie too, because you're playing it with your buddies, with your actual paintball teammates. You guys are on the horn. I remember back when we used to play a lot of digital paintball, like even with mouse, we'd be on the phone, as if we're communicating throughout the game, and it was, I guess it was a paintball game, but it was the next best thing to paintball because it's a team aspect. It's still team oriented. You're challenging yourself. I think also video games are really good for your reflexes too,
dude. 100%. Like I was looking at like what makes, and I heard you were talking to Dave Cheney about the Ninja Gamer, like like
that's right.
Their reflexes are way higher than like same thing like Formula One drivers, like their reflexes have to be on a level that sometimes you can't even learn that, like it just has to be innate. And then you figure it out through other things.
We need video games right now, man. You know what I mean? No paintball. We got to have something. You had to let her know, listen, girl, I'm a professional paintball player. I need these video games.
And it's funny. So to add on to that, I was finally like, all right, I'm making you play this game so you can see. So I let her play the multiplayer setting, which is like way easier. And it was really tougher. And I was like, all right, so I have to do this, and I only have one life. So imagine how much harder it is. And she's like, okay.
I understand. I know. We always teach that at like clinics and stuff. It's like, it only takes one paintball to get eliminated or to eliminate somebody, which is it's pretty impressive when you think about it that way, when you have hundreds and as the game progresses, even thousands of paintballs that have been shot in a game. It's like to not get hit is pretty crazy.
Oh, yeah, for sure. I mean, that's what makes paintball so great, because like no matter what you do, like you can never be perfect. You can never be perfect at paintball. And I was coaching this team last weekend, shooters down here. They're like out of North LA. And when I was at a practice with them, and I was like, when guys would get shot in stupid gunfights, I'm like, hey man, I wouldn't even gunfight with a guy come out 8 times on a guy that it's his first time playing, because he's still shooting a paintball the same speed as me. And it's just like, you're asking for it, it's like,
they all got guns.
Yeah.
They all got guns out there, For sure, dude.
Wow.
You best believe if it's his first time, I'm coming out 50 times in a row.
No, it's funny. I have to highlight that when we were at the summer camp, we last year, not this one that just passed, but the year before, we didn't really play at all. And then this year we jumped in a little bit, and I think you played the point like before I'd played at all. And these kids are getting really good now, and we're doing 3-on-3s, and Marcelo like gets into a gunfight with this kid, and like I just watch his body language from behind. Marcelo was like, okay, I gotta like play serious right here. This kid's not messing around.
Dude, he came to my side of the field. I was like, whoa. We engaged in a heavy gunfight. Later that point, so I shot that first kid, and then the kid behind him actually shot me in the face. It was crazy. Same point, same exact point. I know which one you're talking about. And then I shot the first guy, and I was like, Yeah, I was like, oh, okay, cool. Easy. Piece of cake now. This kid's in the back right. I just kind of moseyed into the 50 and I'm like playing on the wire. And dude, he just sent a super straight ball right in. It was one of those stubborn things too.
Like your shoulders are like, okay, I got to give this kid the business now.
Yeah,
like,
totally.
Totally.
That's a cool thing.
Like 2 points later after that, the same thing happened to me. I was battling with this kid, Will, who like got MVP of the whole camp because he was playing so good. And we were in a pretty heavy battle. And I was like, all right, this kid's not messing around.
Yeah, the skill level is good these days, man. Kids are doing good.
And how awesome is the BKI crew, really, because a lot of these kids have come to multiple events. Will was at summer camp last year. I think he got introduced to the whole system from Ryan. I think he went to one of Ryan's clinics in Georgia or something like that, and then came to the summer camp, and then he's been to the combine since then. Obviously, summer camp again. He's part of the BKI program, works nonstop. But there's so many of the kids that for the last 3 years have come every single year, and how good they've gotten is unreal, dude.
Oh yeah, insane,
unreal.
Like they're so hungry and they're so passionate. Kind of like what it takes and what you need to get to the top, like how we were. And we're always saying to these kids, like, dude, there wasn't as many opportunities to go to pro clinics. I mean, it was good, especially for you guys, because you grew up around pro guys. But like where I was, Trauma was the only close team, and no one was really doing clinics. Like you had to be involved with their camps. But like, dude, if I could have paid $100 to go learn from a pro, like I definitely would have jumped on that. So
absolutely. Shout out to Trauma. What a camp that was.
Yeah.
Trauma was so dope. Do you have any of those jerseys by chance?
I do have one Trauma jersey, and I still have my Gridlock jersey. Like I've had people hit me up to sell it, and I was like, I'm not going to sell it. And if I did, it'd be like $3,000, and I know you don't want to pay that.
Yeah, exactly.
That'll be enough money that I can be like, all right, I'm down.
Right.
I know. I have a Twisted Kids jersey. I have 2 of them actually with Harmon on the back that are like my first jerseys ever before I went pro. Yeah. And those will never go anywhere.
It's funny. The team that I coach, JP, is actually playing again. JP Eising.
Yeah, shout out to JP.
And Arnold Francisco is on the team.
Yeah, Arnold.
Yeah, and it was so funny because like when I heard that, like I came up and like that was the first 2 I came to, and I'm like, dude, I'm like, for me it's still cool to like be coaching you guys, and like it like gives me chills even saying. I was like, dude, I have the utmost respect for you, and like I'm your coach today, but just know like I might tell you to do something, but I'm still like
do what you want.
Like,
for the listeners that don't know who JP Augustin and Arnold Francisco are, JP had a big time run with the Ironman. Arnold Francisco was Tyler's boy. They're on Oakland Assassins. Those dudes were studs back in the day.
Yeah.
And we even had JP come on to like the hybrid team when Oakland meshed with hybrid. JP was on one of those teams. I can't remember which one.
Okay.
But I ran with JP on the same team as well. He's a legend. They're both legends. Huge shout out to Arnold and JP.
Yeah. And I loved it too, because JP, after he like came up to me, he's like, hey dude, man, that was like really awesome. And I have like, huge respect for how you coach, and just like, he's like, you had like a perfect blend of like Rusty Glaze and a little Mike Hinman. And he's like, Alex Frazier. And he's like, I fucking love Alex. And like, he's like, you remind me so much of him. I was like, well, he taught me a lot of the stuff that I know.
Mm-hmm.
So
you coached really well, dude. I love seeing it, because we're at a lot of these events together, and we're often coaching different teams, but I know everybody that you coach really loves the job that you do.
Yeah. And I mean, dude, I think you and I have, like, we've talked about it, and because we've coached a lot of the same players on these like pickup things through BKI. And I think like I attribute that one to just like our passion and love for it. It's like a part of us. Like, it's like we're playing on the field, it's not that we're just doing the job. We feel like if the team, if the team messed up, like I'm on the field with them, and bringing the passion and the energy, and like, you have to do that perfect balance of praise and then like, not punish, but like, be stern with the guys and make them aware of their mess ups and whatnot.
Totally.
Absolutely.
It's the only way they're going to learn, man.
Yeah.
You got to be real with them.
Yeah. I mean, like, credit to Hinman. Like, and I always talk about this too, because like a common thing you always see, and Ryan and I were just talking on Monday about this on our live show, is that like a guy will be in the snake, and I know you guys know this is like a classic, like unexperienced move. Like a guy's in the snake and he has the whole wire, but like he wants to get out of the snake and run to the center brick because it's just like the Dorito 2 and the Dorito corner left. And you're like,
yeah,
that's one thing that Hinman, like, regardless if you win the point, regardless if you win the match 7-0, like he would rip you for that because like just, that's going to work sometimes, but like, 8 times out of 10, like you got to follow those fundamentals to get to the tape, close the game.
Yeah. And you're speaking on something super important there because, obviously I do a lot of coaching as well. And the divisional teams that I coach, there's some really good players on the team, that do well in their division. So they will break the rules or do what they're not supposed to, and they get away with it. Yeah. And I kind of come down on them and they don't get it. I'm like, listen, I understand that it worked, but I promise you a more experienced player on the other side is going to pick you apart for doing that. They're going to make you pay for giving up the advantage. You want to play the highest percentage always. Don't underestimate the other team just because, I don't know, you feel like this might be an easier way. There is a systematic way to play the game. But it's also just like in coaching, you need a perfect balance of some sternness and praise. And, there is a balance there. There's also a balance in playing. You want to play a systematic game, but sometimes you do got to throw the rules out the window and go off script. But I think in order to do that, you do have to reach a level of understanding the rules so well and understanding how you're supposed to play the game so that you're making a very educated decision. It's not really just off script. You might just be like 4 steps ahead, you're like, well, traditionally, this is what I'm supposed to do. That player is at this level. He's probably thinking that I'm going to do this. Yeah. And so I can counter with this. And it seems like you're playing in the flow and you're not thinking, but you really are thinking. You're just processing it really fast.
Dude, and to like add on to what you're saying, that comes down to, and I told those guys this weekend, I was like, you guys can do that stuff and get creative. But what you have to think about is that the guy behind you, like say I'm in the snake and you're in the insert snake bunker, Marcelo, and I go and take that move, even though we have like charger, the whole snake size blown. Mm-hmm. At that point, I know that you're going to look at me and you know that I'm trying to figure something out. You're going to fill out to the snake tape and just be present over there and keep your body alive and give me room to work with instead of, giving your body up that you think, okay, now we just got to rush or something like that. It's a lot of, push and pull and you knowing your teammates that they're going to be able to see what you're doing and pick up on that and know that I got to give that teammate room to work and I got to preserve my body and also fill this gap that he might have left open. There's a lot like that. That's, essentially what it comes down to is knowing your teammates,
Totally. At the highest level, that's everything. At the pro level, I can read what Marcelo or Alex or whoever, Yosh, Yarber, doesn't matter who's beside me. I can read what's going to happen before they even say a word, and we've already scripted a lot of it, but it all comes off that body language. You got to read each other and you got to know each other better than they know themselves almost, so that you can have those. That's when the split second decisions start to happen without even having to vocalize. You're already able to read it immediately without words having to be said because you know each other so well.
Yeah. And I mean that, that's a big part too. I was talking to the team about this weekend is like, what makes a great player is that, you could be the best snake player of all time and you're still going to get shut down. Like, there's countless tournaments, I'd give a big shout out to Mouse. He's had a great last 4 or 5 years, but there's still games that like, if a team wants to shut him down, they're going to shut him down. But he also knows that like, all right, I have to do things or what makes a great player is that they know that just that survivability or whatnot, you give the ball away to your team and that's going to alleviate you. It's not always, your job. And I think there's that 3 main components, your own personal skill, what the opponents are doing and what your team is doing. And like, I know if we come out to the field and I'm playing with you, Tyler, Marcelo, like I know that if I see that either one of you guys are ball one, I instantly can, if I was supposed to do a job, I also have to calculate maybe one of you guys dropped a heavy zone on the Dorito side or on the snake side that now I have to pick that up till we reposition ourselves. So, I think that like, is a good thing for younger guys to aspire to is like, obviously personal capabilities are really important, but knowing what the opponents are doing and knowing what your teammates are doing. And like you guys always talk about, like the greats at that job, like the Ryan Greenspans, the Archies, the J-Reps, they're really good at they have done that with just knowing all those three components. And that, in my eyes, is what, really makes those most elite players, is that they can do all three things fast.
Yeah, a lot of it is preparation too. It's as simple as that. When I coach these teams, I say, look, we have the game plans. You guys are able to study these game plans. If you show up and you only know your job, how are you ever supposed to fix a game plan that doesn't work 10 seconds after the breakout? If you don't know what everyone else is supposed to do, you don't understand the importance of losing Kyle or losing Tyler or losing Marcelo. You don't know, because you're supposed to go to snake one, crawl down and shoot people. But if you lose someone that's protecting you, well, guess what? You might not want to go all the way down to their head and just be put on a platter to get bunkered, you know?
Yeah.
Or you might, and you want to get a couple kills real quick. Who knows? But it's so important to know what the whole game plan is so that you can calculate those adjustments on the fly.
Yeah. And I mean, I know you guys can attest to this, and that's why our, on Dynasty, and it still is, like for you guys, like the meetings would go so long. And I remember there would be times like when the meeting's over and I'd be like, all right, so what if this player gets shot out in this game plan? And then I was like, all right, what if this player gets shot out? And then they're like, God damn it. Like, but it was good, it was good to iron those out, because then everyone's aware, it's like,
that's
right. You need that stuff.
That's what wins championships. Ultimate awareness, dude. The team that's the most aware and the most present in the moment, calculating, breaking down all the situations, all the different, things that can happen. That's how you win championships right there, by doing the mental work. You got to do the physical work, as you know, Kyle. You're one of the most in shape paintball players on the pro circuit. But you also have to do the mental work as well, and it's just as important,
Yeah, if not more important, I think.
I would have to agree with you. Yeah. Because, having 12 abs is great, but making the right decisions is even better. You know what I mean?
Yeah. It's funny not to jump off too much off topic of that, but I was having like some lower back issues. I mean, every snake player has its notorious snake back.
For sure. Snake back,
and I went to like a sports therapist, and he's like, why you're having this problem? He's like, your core is weak. I was like, look at, I'm ripped. And he's like, yeah, that's just for show though. He's like, your core's weak. And I was like, whoa. Man. So, and
that's crazy.
I just did a big BKI workout thing, and I did it at the camp. But I worked with Scott Kemp a lot, and he kind of showed me this great mix that you can get to like reduce that pain,
Totally.
And because, so that was.
It's like a balance between your abs and your back, right?
Yeah.
You have to have all the muscles and everything in between all dialed in, or otherwise something can go a little array,
Yeah. I mean, just to keep it short, like what I figured out with working with Scott and that sports therapist is that like essentially, what people neglect, they're always like stretching their hamstrings in the back, like those back leg muscles, because it's a really easy stretch to do. But where you're getting a lot of tightness, because we sit all day, like we're all sitting right now, is like in our hip flexors, there's tons of pressure there. And it's just like your shoulders, like stress goes there too. And those are so tight. And then your back, like your glutes, your butt, your hamstrings, all that is loose. So it creates that imbalance. But everyone's still stretching that loose part and not stretching that. So you want to kind of like correct that, engage more so the back side of your legs, stretch out the front. And then you engage that core, and that's really going to fine tune those three pieces into supporting you, like before you go into a day of playing or whatnot. Yeah. So, I mean, you could do that for one day. You could go out and play a Sunday, and your back might not hurt, but when you go on that Thursday practice, Friday, Saturday, and then Sunday, like Sunday, you're hurting if you're not taking care of your body.
That's right.
Especially as a front guy,
Oh, for sure, dude. You guys throwing yourselves at the ground. And, I'm on the Dorito side. You typically lead Dorito.
Throwing yourself on the ground, probably the hardest ever.
The only thing you're hurting is the rest of the earth.
And it's maybe your paintball gun or something.
Yeah, I've lost a lot of paintball guns, for sure.
Mother Earth, watch out.
Dude, she's cradling me.
For you.
Yeah, she's taking a beating from you, but she still loves you.
Dude, it's mutual. It's mutual.
Yeah. You pay it back.
That's it, baby. You know how it goes. So I want to dive into your grassroots. I want to hear how you got into this amazing sport that we all love, man. You started out there in North Carolina. Shout out to my North Carolina folk out there, and Petey Pablo.
Yeah,
let the hell yeah, let's go. So I want to know how it all started for you out there. Give us the scoop.
So
first day of paintball.
Day of paintball. So I believe that I always kind of like forget where I was at. I want to say it was like 6th or 7th grade. I think in that 2003, 2004 area. So it was about 13, 14. Mm-hmm. I think that's exactly when it was. But in my neighborhood where I lived, I had a couple friends, and their dad had like a few acres behind his house, and they would set up like a outside course in the woods. Go to the scuba tank, fill up those big long tanks, and then everyone would fill up their air from there, and then and I believe it was CO2. I think I'm pretty sure. Yeah.
There we go.
And so we went out there, and they're like, all right, before you play, you have to go stand over there like 50 yards away, and we have to shoot you so that you can feel what it feels like. So, and I was petrified. I mean, dude, I think I was scared of paintballs for the, 2-3 years that I played. Like, but I'll get to why I think that made me better.
Real quick, I'm sorry, dude. How old did you say you were?
I think I I had to be. I mean, if it was 2013, 2014, I would have to be 13 or 14. 2003, sorry. 2003, 2004. I had to be 13 or 14. Because I know, I went to my first World Cup in 2005, which I think was like about 2 years after
those pictures you sent are amazing.
Yeah.
For everybody listening, Kyle has a ton of golden pictures just of like Tyler back in the day. Me and Kyle actually, like when dude, we thought we were so old. We were like 20 years old. We'll get to that in a little bit. But we look like babies. It's just crazy, dude. Sorry, it's hard to interrupt, man. But
no, it's all right. We'll come to that. That'll be coming up.
We're gonna have to post those on the Play the Game Instagram.
Yeah, sure. Exactly. Yeah. So, I played a little bit in the backyard. I loved it, and then I convinced my mom to get me a Spider Extra, a big green metal Spider Extra with like the big things on the back. It's huge. Oh yeah. And I think I just used like a gravity fed hopper or something, just chop and paint. Like, I was a mess, but
dude, I sold a lot of those out of Twisted Paintball when I was a kid.
You did?
Yeah,
that's awesome.
For sure.
I forgot what I was talking. I think I was talking to Ryan the other day. I think that gun was electronic, but I don't.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So did that for a little bit. Fast forward, and then I found this crew of guys at my paintball school in like, 7th, 8th grade that played like tournament paintball.
Nice.
And they were like, "Hey, why don't you come out to the field with us one day?" I go out there. And I remember there was like the big dogs out there. It's like the first time you see tournament players, you're like, dude, I don't want to play these guys. And like the speedball fields had the hoses that connected all the bunkers.
Yeah.
So, which is like, I still am mind blown that someone thought that was a logical idea.
Yeah. A bunch of like tripwires everywhere.
Yeah, because I know that leaf blowers were invented at that point, and it's like that just seems like very logical. But either way.
I don't know. It seems logical to me, dude. You could just turn it on and it's the whole field is up. Boom.
Yeah, it's a very very logical thing for a lazy person, I think.
Or maybe if they would have had the hose like below the bunker, but the hose was always like running somewhere. It was like a huge tripping hazard.
Yeah, it was like definitely like if you wanted to go like through the 30 and 40 yard line, like you have to hop over that thing,
Yeah.
Dude, it was essentially like when they grid the fields now, but they use the yarn. It was like a grid, but with these big arrows.
And now going back and thinking about it, it's like, dude, that must have been so hard when you're like trying to set up a different layout.
I was just gonna say,
because like I don't know where that hose would go, like in the back of the bunker where the hose is now. Like,
we'll
have to look that up to see.
It was definitely an arcade. The very first steps, the baby steps of airball.
Yeah. So I remember. So I was going out there, and I'm like, dude, these guys had those insane intimidators at the time. Like that was like the gun of the field. That was like, if you have one of these, like your big dog shooting.
I was shooting that thing.
I know you were like shooting, 20 balls a second or faster. So whatever, I got the, balls to go out there and play with these guys. And I remember, I got bunkered and I got one shot in my thigh and one shot in my back. The shot in my back, like it must've skimmed my jersey. And I was just like, oh man, paintballs don't actually hurt that bad. And I was like hooked. And then I looked at the welt on my leg. And I don't know if you guys remember this. Like, I swear that when you were not used to getting shot by paintballs, the bruises were huge.
For sure.
And you know, like when you, like maybe those big jawbreakers you get at Cracker Barrel, like when you see that thing cut off half, there's like 7 different colors. That's what my thigh looked like. And I swear to God, it was like the size of my head on my thigh. And my mom was like, what the hell? I was like, no, it was fine. Didn't even hurt. Like, and I remember being hooked at that point because I was I want to do that to someone else. And it doesn't actually hurt that bad because, you know, with the adrenaline and whatnot, you know. So that's like what hooked me. And then I remember there was a guy at the field selling a Rat Impulse.
Nice.
And he was like, I'll give you the gun, the tank, and the egg hopper total for like $600, which, like, you know,
that's a good deal.
That was a good deal at the time.
Good deal at the time. Yeah. But, you know, and I've told this story a few times, like through other, you know, avenues, but like growing up, it was just me and my mom. My mom and dad split up when I was 2, and she didn't make a lot of money at all. And like, you know, for her, that was like so hard to grasp. Like, dude, $600, that was like probably double the rent of our apartment at that point, you know? So she was like, dude, I don't know if I could do that, blah, blah, blah.
Dude, and, huge shout out to Karen and your grandma.
Yeah,
best people in the world.
I was just about to say, such amazing people, both of them. I miss seeing them at events. I know they're going to listen to this too. So,
my mom's going to love listening to this.
Much. Yeah, and
dude,
we
love you. My biggest fans. And my mom's probably the biggest Dynasty fan I know. Even like whatever team I go to, and like I'll jump to a quick funny story. Last year, when I was on the Ironman, we got knocked out. We didn't make it out of the prelims, or maybe we got knocked out at the beginning of Sunday. My mom switched out of her Ironman shirt that I gave to her, put on a Dynasty shirt.
There you go, baby. We love you.
I'm like commentating with Maddie, and I come down from the booth, and someone's like, hey, your mom's in the VIP booth wearing a Dynasty shirt, telling everyone she's your mom. And I was like, oh, and at the time it was like driving me crazy, but like I gotta laugh at it. And like, I just have the most respect because, like, dude, everyone on Dynasty, like everyone has been so amazing to my mom and my grandma, and like that's gone so far. And you know, you can see it, and that's why I have like the biggest love for the team. That's like, you know, my family team, you know.
Of course. Well, that's where it all started, buddy.
Yeah,
you know, I mean, you, me, and Short Dog, Brandon Short, we came on the squad. They said Dynasty will never win again. That's what they were saying. Exactly. I remember them saying that, and then we came out just swinging for the fences, dude.
So that actually will segue into this next part. So I'm like, my mom gets a gun, you know, and she's basically like, you need to get a job. So by this time I'm like a freshman in high school, and I get my worker's permit at like 15. I think it's like, you have to be 15 and a half or something to get your worker's permit. I get that. I quit all my after school sports I played. I played a ton. Like I was playing lacrosse, soccer, and I was even wrestling. And all the practices were after school, but I got a job at this surf shop, and I was also like a busboy at a Texas Roadhouse. And so I was working
you, dude.
2 jobs. And but like for me, I was like, dude, I'll have to send you guys this picture. My mom was like, what do you want to do besides paintball? And it was like nothing. It was just like paintball. I don't want to watch TV like you. I just want to play paintball. And like, so she knew how much I loved it, and she was super supportive of it. So she made things work. And then she was also kind of like taught me, you know, like what hard work is, you know, and have a good work ethic. So, which I'm thankful for, you know, now where I'm at, because I can be grateful for everything. But, you know, that basically got me into loving tournament paintball. And I remember I would go to, and I know, Marcelo, you talk about this all the time, like go to Barnes and Nobles, pick up a faceful, and like at that time, like I didn't know how to like get posters, and like I also didn't want to ask my mom to buy posters, so I would rip like my favorite photos out of the facefuls, and I would tape them all the way across like the top of my room. So like my room, like the border, the top was all filled with just like single face photos of like.
Dude, I did the same thing when I was a kid. Like, I would take these pictures, and my whole room was just layered with paintball pictures.
Yeah. Dude, and what's awesome about that is like most of the photos are like, dude, of you guys are like, and then even before your guys' time, it was just like Ryan, Oliver, B Short, like these legends that I was like, obviously I aspired to be that, but realistically in my mind, I was like, dude, I'm never gonna meet these guys, because it's like it'd be like, in my eyes, and I know you guys felt the same way, it's like Tom Cruise or like Tom Brady or like Kobe Bryant or Michael Jordan. Like it was literally the same thing, because when you're so infatuated with that sport, like that's who you're looking up to as like the superheroes, like you always say, Marcelo.
Kyle, you were doing something that you didn't even realize, dude. You were manifesting your reality, dude. You know, they write books about this. There's countless books about what you did, and you really didn't realize what you were doing, but you were so invested. Like you said, you wrote paintball, 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 paintball. You know what I'm saying? You were on your path, and it's no wonder that you're wearing an Impact shirt on this show right now. You play for one of the most winningest teams in the current landscape of pro paintball right now. And it's because you had that laser sharp focus, man, and you were dialed in and you knew where you were heading, and you were putting just nonstop paintball into your brain, and it bred you to be this animal that you are,
For sure.
Yeah. It's amazing.
Say something, Marcelo?
Yeah, I was actually just gonna say that it's even more special because it's not like you were in Southern California like I was, or where Tyler was, where we had the pros around us. You were in North Carolina, and there was, like you said, there was trauma back then. So that was, definitely a little something, but these pros that you were putting up in your room, it really was a distant kind of dream to attain,
and it was all California, like for the most part, it was mostly California.
Yeah, California was the mecca of paintball back then, especially. I mean, there was just no place bigger. You had the Oakland Assassins, Infamous, Ironman, Dynasty. It was insane. We had all the teams, all the top players. SE Village was in its glory days, where all the superstars, all the superheroes were out there playing every single weekend. So for me, it was really easy for me. I don't want to say easy, but much easier than it was for you to see that on the weekends firsthand. I got to see these players in the flesh. So I was like, I can do that. I want to do that. I'm going to do whatever I can to do that. But for you, you're looking at pictures in a magazine, literally. And that's to me, that's why your story is even more special, which is why Tyler and I really wanted to have you on the show and are so thankful that you're here, because there's so many players that are listening and going to listen to this that might feel like, there's really not much opportunity for me. Maybe I'm going to give up on my dream, even if it's not paintball, whatever it is, right? But your story is just such a true testament to pursuing what you want and, enduring the struggles and the hard times as well, and being willing to kind of eat shit for a little bit in order to reap the benefits long term, which you have absolutely done. And you're one of the best players in the world now. Paintball's taking you all over the world, and we'll obviously dive into that. But I just want to highlight, like, you weren't handed anything. You were in North Carolina on the other side of the country and truly had to fight and claw your way to the top.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Go ahead. What did you say?
Now you're roommates with Ryan Greenspan.
Yeah. The trip, and now like brothers.
That must be the punishment for anything bad you've done.
Maybe. Going forward, actually, I was just thinking on this. I had 2 posters, and I don't know if this is like kind of a mean thing to say, but I kept them on my wall. It was Skinny Kevin and Rodney Squires, the old Dynasty posters, and they were the only ones left that I could buy. Shout out the 2 legends. I love Skinny, I love Rodney.
Absolutely.
But it was just funny that that's all that was left. And then, like, as I grew up, I was like, man, I didn't even have the best Dynasty guys. no shame to them, but whatever.
It's like it's like collector's cards or something.
Yeah, exactly.
But dude, we've been playing. I actually saw Skinny not too long ago at Ryan's house. He was having fun. It's always good to see him. And Rodney, we've been running around with 10 man. He's still doing it, dude. Still running around.
Dude, Rodney's awesome, man. I've learned to appreciate Rodney more than ever. Just the last few times he's come out to Dynasty practice. He actually always offers some, he doesn't overstep his boundaries, because it's not like he's there all the time. And every now and then he'll give me a little bit of advice in the pit, and he still has very valuable stuff to contribute, man.
For sure.
He knows his stuff, dude. Rodney's the man. And then Yeah, it's nice to have a lot of the old Dynasty guys kind of come out, because it really is like a long-term brotherhood, fraternity kind of, kind of thing that they have. And it's beautiful. There's been so many amazing, not only players, but the one thing that I think Dynasty has always done very well is they've picked players with really good character,
Yeah. Yeah.
And so everybody that's always been in the camp is just somebody that you want to be around, both on and off the field, and I think that that was the whole reason that I wanted to come play for Dynasty. I mean, forever,
all of us.
It's because all the guys, you could just relate to all the guys, and it goes all the way back,
Yeah,
totally.
And dude, what's funny that I actually just haven't even thought about till right now when I just said that, something like pretty eerie, is that both I played on Entourage, where Rodney was the coach and Skinny Kevin was my coach, and those are the only two Dynasty players that I've ever been coached under, besides like playing alongside. But like those are my two of my coaches.
Dude, there it is again. See, without you even knowing it.
That's really hard because
don't forget Mike Hinman. He was a Dynasty player.
Mike Hinman as well, but I didn't have his poster. So
and Rusty. Rusty was a Dynasty player.
Rusty, and then Todd as well too. So
Todd.
Yeah. But
the
those
Dynasty
two guys
lineage.
were your poster.
Yeah. But I'll come to that as we get there. So I'll fast forward a little bit too.
Take your time, baby.
So once I got good, I started going to South Carolina, basically Myrtle Beach area, to play with this. There was this team. We had CFOAs, which I know some people are familiar with. It's still around, but it's definitely not on the scale it was. Like CFOAs were the size of NXLs at that point. Right. 2005, 2006, and there was basically D1, which at the time was pro, essentially, because you could have 2 or 3 pro guys. So Trauma guys were playing on there, Ultimate guys were playing on those teams, Strange, Philly Americans, everyone. And that really got me into like solid tournament paintball. I played some local tournaments before that I kind of skipped over, but like going into this, like I started going to there, and actually Sean McDonald, Crunchy, he was out there playing before he got on Excessive. He was playing on this team called Fat City Paintball, and I remember everyone would be like, "Hey, come watch this match and watch this kid play. He's insane." And he was out there crushing, just like running, shooting to all the 50s and just dominating, really just playing out of his mind. And I was like, I want to be like that kid,
And he's an athletic specimen like yourself, dude.
Yeah,
absolutely.
And so I was playing with this team, Authority, who at the time they were winning almost like out of 6 events in the year, they were winning like 4 or 5, just super dominant. And they let me get on the team. I wasn't getting a lot of play time, but I eventually got more play time. That team fizzled out, and I knew of Gridlock at the time, but I wasn't really ready yet. So I ended up going to try out for the team. And at this moment, I'm like 16, I would say.
Nice.
2006, 2007, got on the D3 team. And at this point, the year I got on the team, there was 2 D3 teams, a D2 team, a D1 team, and then the pro team Trauma. So between the camp, we had like, I don't know, 125 players. And then like all the parents, like we were coming to PSPs with 175 people. Like
you guys were a mob.
Yeah. It's like we and it was broken down, and I hear like people complaining these days about like payments. Like we had to pay $250 a month just for like paint and entry fees. And then we had to buy our own hotel and our own airfare to the field. And then we had to pay for those packages for the gun and gear, like
we were just talking about this with Yarber. Blake Yarber was just on. How many players, I've been very fortunate to be sponsored for, it's insane how long, it's almost 20 years.
Yeah.
I paid for everything for a couple of years and then got on Oakland, but we did pay for our stuff, and you have to do that. And you have to really, no matter how long it takes, if that's your vision and you want to climb the ranks and you want to go places in paintball, you're going to have to knuckle up and pay some money. You know what I mean?
Sure.
Yeah.
And then, so, going into that, and this is going to be something that's really good when we get to it, but like I never got a first place. I was always getting second place. Like on that D3 year, we got like 2 national second places, never first. So then the next year I was getting bumped up to D2. And I think I played we played a couple events D2. And at the time, Vicious was like the main big team. It was like Vicious and like Dynasty Entourage and like Miami Devious. Like those were like the big baller teams in D2. In Aftermath too. Like I think Aftermath was D1 at that point, but there was some heavy hitters. And like in D2, we didn't really do that well. But
we never played D2. We went from D3 straight to D1.
Okay, so that makes sense. Yeah, because I was like, I don't ever remember having to play you guys, but like I remember the D1 squad, and you guys would go at it like a lot. So, and I remember watching you guys in D1, and the D1 Aftermath team was phenomenal, like just crushing, and just had this swagger and like intensity, and like just you know, it was like a gang, you know. It was like they're coming out there ready to brawl, and like not like actually physically, but in a sense, like they would.
Dude. Listen, Mike Hinman, and the more that we have these shows, and I hear about people's upbringing and stuff like that, it makes me so much more and more and more thankful for Mike Hinman and what he provided for us. It was unreal, and it really was kind of gang mentality. We showed up, we were there for business, and we had everyone's back. Like if you did one of our boys wrong, I mean, everybody was kind of ready to step up. Even if we were kids, we probably all would have got beat up, but the mentality was there. You know, we had each other's backs, and it was just all in on showing up, winning, being gritty, putting in the work, you know?
Yeah. And I know that was like how same type of that trauma gang was pretty wild. And I had the like Oakland posse, which was insane. So we all had like these wild crews that raised us, you know, and it wasn't like this foo-foo thing. It was pretty rowdy. It was pretty intense.
You had to be tough.
Yeah, dude.
Some of the stuff that happened, I don't even know if I want to say it on the show, to be honest. But nowadays, people are going to jail. You know, which is lame. I mean, I love the way the older guys didn't care that we were underage. They'd rough us up, you know, hit us, whatever it might be. Like if we were out of line, we were getting abused. You know?
That's like, you know, like in Miami Rage, dude. Remember Miami Rage? Like that was like the Florida version, but like on a way crazier scale.
Totally.
But I, you know, just like sidetrack a little bit. Like that's why, and Grayson Goff said this many years ago. He's like, that's why not a lot of new pros have taken.
I agree.
These pros off the top, you know, because I think their upbringing was so strong and laid such a strong foundation that like is keeping them in that area, that it's hard to breach that, and it takes a lot longer because those guys have a whole different, you know, upbringing and breeding and like training. They overcome the mental, the physical, all those aspects. But you know, those dudes, those Mike Hinmans and those like Paxton, those like Billy Saranskis, like those guys, Nicky Q was like those. I always think of it as like, you know, when you see a movie and like there's like a really tough dad. Sorry, there's like a little gnat here.
Kyle just killed a bug. That's not very nice, dude. Improve. I was gonna say Oliver's one of those guys too, though. Actually, he was really gritty. Really, you know, he really is one of those like Mike Paxton kind of guys. But it's a testament because that's how he was brought up in paintball. Mentality. And I think the way that those older guys kind of groomed him transcended his game.
Oh, for sure. And you know, like I was gonna say too, it reminds me of like, you know, movies when you see maybe like a tough dad on his kid, but then the kid like eventually later in his life he realizes like, man, that was actually really beneficial to me because it engraved these traits and like these fun paintball fundamentals into me that I know like I have these calculated things. So we got off topic a little bit there, but like the trauma guys were the same way, and it was great because the trauma guys really had a good relationship with all you guys on the West Coast, and I started becoming such good friends with these trauma guys, and then I would hang out with them at the event, and then like maybe Marcelo would walk up and say hi, and then they would be like, this is this little shithead kid Kyle, like, or like Damian Ryan would walk up with Tally, shout out RIP, and like he would walk up, and then they would slowly introduce me to all these guys. And like, you know, I still remember like the first time I met like Brandon Short, who in my eyes, like as a Snake player, was the epitome of like who I wanted to be. So that was like, you know, meeting
especially
my Kobe Bryant and Michael Jordan.
There was no one better than Brandon Short at that position in that time.
Yeah, no, not at all. So that was pretty amazing, and so that kept me going, kept my drive alive. And I was driving like 3-4 hours to practices by myself at 16, and like then driving home like 3-4 hours each way. And I just had like a permit, so I remember I'd have to be like, I have to get on the road by 6 or 5 because I can't be driving after 9. And like, yeah, I was like, just had a provisional license. So what I was getting to is that D2, when I got to D2, the whole organization basically diminished. Like there was an issue with money. So trauma and all the grade lot camps, just like, it was like, sorry guys, like good luck.
Whoa.
And I was crushed at that point, as I was like, dude, what am I going to do? And this is, fast forward, this is my senior year in college. I'm 17. I'm like, dude, this was like, I was like planning, you know, on the long haul to be able to get on trauma and to like still live in this little beach town in North Carolina, and be with my mom, and go to community college. And I remember like a bunch of kids from the squad were going down to Florida to play with Palm Beach Vipers. And so I was like, I kind of had like a open door to go down there and try out and play on the team. But it wasn't like a situation where like, hey, we're going to fly you down, you can go back to your home. It was like, you got to come down here. You know, we're not paying for that. And you're still probably going to have to pay more money, you know? And so I remember I graduated high school, and I remember like I was at this hotel with my mom and grandma for some reason. And I remember sitting there and talking to her. And at the time, you know, my grandma was a college professor. She actually just retired like 5 years ago,
whoa,
like early 70s, retired from teaching as a college professor. And she was adamant about me going to college. I think even more so than my mom, even though my mom was a college graduate too. And I basically said, like, I want to go do this. I will go to college if you guys want, but like, I'm not going to be able to play paintball anymore. And I said it in a pretty like rational way and not begging them to let me play paintball. But my grandma was like, you can always go back to school. You got to take this opportunity right now. And like, I remember her saying that, and I got so excited. And she's like, you can always go back to school, but you can't always do this, and you have to take it and you have to run with it right now. So they sent me off to Florida. I drove down by myself in my car, and got on the D2 team there.
Hell yeah!
Played like event, and I like begged the coach Ken Bryson. I was like, I need to be on the D1 team. Like, put me on the D1 team, and I wasn't ready. And like, that was also like can attest to a lot of where I'm at, is because I always was asking teams that were way out of my skill level to give me a chance, even if I'm like sitting on the bench. Like, I want to learn from you guys, and I'll pick up my skill level just being around you guys. And I kept having to do that, and beg these teams. And then so I played a couple D2 events on there, and then played almost a full season D1. And at this point, I had built a lot of great relationships with the guys in California. Especially Marcelo was one of them. And I was like, I think I was talking to him one event, and I was like, dude, I think I'm like kind of over this, and I think I'm ready for a change. And he's like, why don't I try to get you on the Aftermath team? And this was like the end of 2009. Yeah. And Aftermath had won all 4 semi-pro events. Yeah. And he was like, I think I could get you a tryout. So he talked to him, and I remember I was still living in Florida at the time. You guys, the pro team, actually flew out to Florida to practice damage, and Hinman was like, you're going to go to that practice and you're going to play with the pro team. Tyler, you're on the team too.
Yeah.
I just saw that. I remember there was a funny story in the checkers with the bum.
Oh God. Yeah.
Which you
Oh man. Yeah, that story. Yeah, we'll bypass that one.
Probably not COVID safe.
Yeah.
So I played there, and I remember Dan Wake was the coach. Dan, shout out to Dan. He helped me so much with like, dude, just like my overall physical abilities. Like, this is what you need to train. You need to get faster. You need to get better off the break. He worked with me a lot. I flew out to San Diego, tried out for the team. Him was like, all right, you can be on the team, but I'm not flying you out. Like, you got to move out here. So I remember flying back home, gathered all my stuff, packed all my stuff, drove back to North Carolina with the intent that I was driving out to San Diego. And now we're at the end of 2009, right before World Cup. Drive back home, hang out with my mom for a couple of days. And then my uncle, he's like, I'll make the drive with you and I'll fly home. So he drives with me from North Carolina. We stop in St. Louis, visit my grandma for a day. Then we cut down to like New Mexico and then straight over San Diego, 3-day trip.
But dude, hold on real quick, Kyle. I'm sorry to, I have to interject because you're making it seem like it was such an easy thing. This is a life-changing decision that you were making as a kid.
Yeah,
you know,
you were rushing through it. Like you were on a tangent here.
No, dude, tangents are the best. Yeah. But dude, this was such a brave and bold move. You quit your job. You had no real guarantees of anything in San Diego. Not a place to live, not a job. Like, you thought maybe True Religion was going to be able to transfer you. But there was so much uncertainty. You, again, just were so committed to your goal of playing professional paintball, and you saw this as the best opportunity. You decided to pack whatever you had in your car and drive across the country to make this happen as a kid. You're like 18 years old, something like that, right?
Yeah, 18. Yeah. And I $500 to my name.
Dude, like, that's insane. That's crazy. That's not, you didn't have a bunch of help. It's not like your parents said, here's a couple grand, get out there, we'll get you a place. You did this all on your own. And you didn't just decide right away too. You put a lot of thought into it. There's a lot of doubt in doing it. And there was a lot of hesitation, and you decided to just go for it.
Yeah, no, it was, I don't know, like, what was in me at that point. Cause like, I wanted to reach the top, and I was going to do everything I could to do it. And like, I would even say, now I'm slightly more hesitant about, life-changing decisions like that. Like, Tyler, you just moved to Arizona. I'm sure that wasn't an easy decision to make. And like, those are decisions now that I still think about. Like, I get like scared almost sometimes if I'm like, oh man, maybe if I had to move or something like that. Like, those are, but back then I was just like full throttle. Like, totally. I wanted whatever it was going to take, I was going to do it.
And that's the way you should be when you're young. Truly, don't be reserved. All the adults are going to tell you to take this path. This is the path. This is the path. But you got to follow your heart, man. You got to follow what you want to do. And if ever there's a time to throw caution to the wind and do whatever you want to do, it's when you're young, because as you grow older, you're going to be more solidified in these areas, and it's not going to be as easy to do anything. So
like make mistakes and failures and whatnot. Yeah. And like, just to go back a little bit, like, I don't know. I think like not having a dad, was a little bit harder for me as far as like a behavioral aspect. So I wasn't like the most behaved kid, which was
you were such a troublemaker. Dude.
So bad. Like,
I see you skipped over the story of how we first met.
We did. I did skip over that part, but I'll go back to that. So I'll just tell that story because I think it's a funny story. But before this story, not having a dad, I think that, my mom was like, she would punish me, but mom's like, they're going to give in after a day, like grounding you or whatever, taking your phone. So basically, like as a kid, dude, I was getting like detention all the time. I lived right next to the school. So me and my friends would like run into the school and like on the weekends and like just cause mischief, get in trouble, get suspended, like just doing really, really stupid stuff. And then, but fast forward, that goes into like, this is actually how I met Marcelo. And this was like, I feel like this actually might have been the first time I met Brandon Short, but I think I had met him one time before. So I was friends with this kid on the D2 team, and he was really good friends with Damien. And Damien was like, hey, let's go over to the Ironman house. And this was 2000, I don't know, 2006, 2007?
World Cup, I think. Yeah,
2006 or 7. Yeah. Because who's that guy, Mike McLaughlin?
So 2006.
Okay, 2006. He was on the team. So he's like, let's go over to their hotel. And I remember they had these like little, like 2-3 bedroom condos. I get over there, I walk in, and inside the condo is Mike Paxton, Short, Marcelo, and then I didn't see this Mike McLaughlin guy at the time. He was like in the room. Yeah. And I was like, holy shit, this is amazing. Like, these guys are drunk and I'm hanging out with these guys. We're all like, having fun, partying. And I remember Short came up to me and he's like, hey, I'm going to go pee in this plant inside the condo. Go over there, you pee in the other one. And I'm like, all right, cool. Like, I don't do anything this guy says right now. So I go over there and like Short finished going to the bathroom before me. And I'm still standing there peeing. And Mike McLaughlin walks out and he's like, what the fuck? Like, who is this fucking kid? And he's freaking out on me. And I'm like, no. Short told me. And Short's like, I don't know, like, who this kid is. Like, get out of here. And
you're peeing in a plant inside of our condo, dude.
Yeah, dude, it was so bad. But I will blame that on Short.
Yeah. that's a Short move, dude.
Yeah, that's a Short move. And then, I remember at the time too, like, we were leaving and everyone had went to their rooms and like we were kind of got kicked out, but like they weren't like physically kicking us out. They're like, just, you guys got to go. And I remember being in this room with this a teammate at the time, and he was like, dude, should we all their gear bags are out here, should we take their jerseys and sell them? And I was like, what? No way. I was like, we just got to met like our superheroes. Like, you want to take something from them? And like, and obviously, like, they know that it was us. We were the last ones there. Like, what's wrong with you? So we leave, and then, like, that was a pretty staple moment of like just getting to meet all the guys. But yeah, I wasn't.
How old were you? How old were you there?
I was 16.
Yeah, just a young troublemaker. Yeah, having fun.
Yeah, and so basically, long story short. Having paintball has given me, like, I'm an only child too, so like this is giving me brotherly figures, like a sibling figure, and also father figures, like tons of father figures. So my mom, who was like the caring, would give me anything I wanted, anything that she was capable of giving me, and nurturing and giving me love. Like, I had the paintball side to teach me like discipline and like ethical decisions, and I also just started seeing that I was just making my mom more upset and disappointed versus than making her mad. And that hurt me worse. I mean, you constantly hear people saying that, like, just seeing someone upset or disappointed is way worse than seeing them angry.
For sure.
So that kind of started to click, and I, got out of those bad traits, getting into a little trouble here and there.
Well, it's natural, dude. As a kid, we all, have some little troublemaker traits.
Yeah. Some mistakes here and there. So fast forward, like, Marcelo, super thankful, and like I always give him credit for this, like helping me get on the team and get out there. And Mouse at the time too was a big advocate for that. So I remember we drove up back to the story. I'm driving across the country. The way it was timed, like, we didn't have any time to basically like go stay the night. I drove in from New Mexico through the night to the morning of the first practice with the team on Saturday. And I remember, dude, Hinman was chewing my ass out like all day. And he's like, if you're going to play like this, you're going to go home. Like, you can just turn the car back around. And I remember telling my uncle, because I knew Hinman at the time, I'm like, hey, he's going to say stuff today, and I just need you to really not say anything and stay in the car, or just hold your tongue. Please do not get involved, no matter what you see, what he does physically or vocally. Please just don't get involved. And then after, he was like, dude, what the hell is wrong with that guy? And I'm like, thank you for not saying anything.
But Hinman, I mean, I've had the luxury of playing under Hinman as well. He's one of the best to ever do it, in my opinion,
100%.
as a coach. He
is the best divisional coach ever to walk the face of this earth, in my opinion. He has brought so many players up, and his way of teaching young players not only how to play the game, but what it takes mentally to be a top competitor, you know?
That's engrave those fundamentals, you know, to get you from like a point of like D4 to semi-pro.
Right.
Yeah.
There's no one in the game that can fast track that better than Hinman.
You're right. And then the kicker is that next step of semi-pro to pro is up to you. Yeah. It's up to then, like, there's only so much another person outside of yourself can do. You know what I'm saying? Like, Mike Hinman can only do so much for you. You got to do the next chapter for yourself and take all that stuff that he's taught you and do the work and work your ass off to get to the top level.
For sure.
Yeah.
And then, so in knowing this, like going out there, I was staying. Hinman was like, you can stay in my home for as long as you need until you get your feet on the ground, find a place to live and a job. So,
dude, what a guy!
I lived with Hinman. I lived with Hinman for a month while I was doing that, and I remember, dude, Marcelo was like, I like, you know, have like so much gratitude for you doing this, but like Marcelo would literally go with me like almost every day to every other day to go like look for a place to live or like try to help me find a job or try to do everything he could out of his own day. That like I even go back thinking about it like, dude,
that's crazy.
I don't even know if I would do that for someone else. And like that's something that I always think about in my head, like, is that wrong of me? Because like I'm like, man, that was so amazing and so thankful that like, dude, you know, to be that giving, which is, you know, I'm so thankful for that, because I wouldn't be where I'm at for, you know, if
I call him the giving tree Marcelo. That's what I call him.
Yeah.
Dude, I was happy to. I thought it was fun. We met some cool cats. We
thought of some good ideas.
Some funny places, dude. We would leave one place and be like, hell to the no. Yeah. I'll never forget the one place by San Diego State that you ended up moving into. We left because we sat there for like 45 minutes. I remember like, oh, you guys want to drink? You want to hang out? You know, we're like, well, we kind of have, you know, this was just a meeting, but yeah, okay. We left and it's like, that's the one. That's the spot. Sure.
No, it was amazing. And like, so I moved out of Hinman's place, and then I wanted to skip forward. So like we get to World Cup, and I'm playing with semi-pro Aftermath, and I wasn't starting. I wasn't actually getting to play that much. And like, especially through the prelims, I think I didn't play like really any point. I played like maybe 5 or 6 points through the whole entire 4 games. In one match, Hinman was like, I need you in between the points to hold a gun at the 50 Dorito for when players need to, if someone's gun goes down at the gate and they have to be able to run halfway across the field so they can get that gun for you and you can run back in the pit at 10 seconds. And I remember like 0.4 of doing this, we're blowing this team out. And I was like, this is so degrading. I don't want to do this. Like, and I'm thinking of that's my ego getting to me. Like, I wasn't thinking about the team at the point. I was thinking about myself. I was like, dude, I got like, you know, kids from like Palm Beach Vipers that saw me abandon that team to like come over here and play. And like, I'm just standing here being like, you know, just not playing. And I was like, it was hard on my ego. And I remember after that match, we won 7-0. After that match, Hinman came over and he's like ripping everyone for the mistakes, you know, because that's what it takes to win, you know. And then he came to me and he was destroying me for not doing that after 4. Like, there's nothing that ggs by Mike, you know. And he noticed that, even though they were winning. I thought that like maybe he wouldn't notice. And you know, it was good. At the moment, like a bunch of people stuck up for me, like Rory. There was some of the pro Aftermath guys there that stuck up for me, like, dude, come on, like, don't be so hard on him. Like, that's such a shitty job. It's like, you know, picking up pods. Like, no one likes doing that stuff. But it was a good learning lesson for me to like not forget like my work ethic. And like, dude, when we're at field still to this day, like I'll be the first one to go pick up a blower. Like when we're like, if we're practicing you guys or whatever, like something needs to get staked in, like. I don't mind doing that stuff, and that was like a big part of Hinman's teachings.
Well, I want you to tell the listeners just how hard it was, though, Kyle, because I don't think that's really been conveyed through this message here. Just how how grueling that experience was, and you didn't quit, dude.
Yeah.
I would say that 9 out of 10 people would have quit. You didn't quit.
Yeah.
And now you're able to reap the rewards because you did not quit, man. And like I said, for people listening out there, you have no clue how grueling his experience was. It was some next level stuff, and he stuck with it.
I was getting the clipboard. I heard some some stuff said that probably wouldn't repeat on here, and it made me strong. But so that
it made
year,
you strong, bro. It made you strong.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
And so the end of that year happened, and him and I we kind of had a little bit of a falling out, like one inter season practice, and he had done this with a lot of players, but it wasn't. You always knew that it wasn't for sure. But one practice, like I remember exactly what happened. Actually, there was a player like in the snake, and he was like looking down the tape or like something like that, and him was across the other field, and he was like, Kyle, and he like pointed at the snake guy, and he was like going like this. And
just for the listeners, Kyle's waving his hand, kind of in like a get him out motion, right?
Yeah, get him out motion. And so I'm like, him? And he's like, yeah, like this, like get him out, like pull, like motioning his hand towards his face, like, in a waving motion. So I'm like, hey, I think you're out. Like Hinman is across the field there. And he's like, all right. And then Hinman comes over there. He's like, dude, I was trying to get you to tell him to look over here. And like, at the time, I'm like, Mike, can you calm down for a second and just realize like how hard that is for me to read your mind for that? And he's like, pack your stuff, like you're cut, like you're off the team. And I saw it happen so many times. It was kind of a test. Like you can still come back to the team. It's just like you're done for the day, leave your gun and stuff over here. But that was kind of mid-season. So I went home, and I remember this. I think this was on Super Bowl Sunday. And
that's convenient.
Yeah. Glenn Takamoto was like, yeah, exactly. So I remember driving home, and I was friends with Short and Scott all the time at this moment, and they're like, "Hey, Glenn Takamoto is having a Super Bowl party. Why don't you come by?" So I go over there, and like Short and Scott could see I'm like kind of in my head and like something going on. So they're like, "Hey, what's wrong?" And I'm like, "I don't know. Like if paintball is cut out for me in general." Like I was like, is this like kind of what it takes to be over here? And they're like, no, it might not be the right fit for you at the moment. But like, I don't think you should worry about, because at this point I was in San Diego, and I was like, I don't know if paintball is fit for me, but I want to live in San Diego.
Yeah.
So Short and Scott were basically like, come to the Ironman tryout. We want to get you on the team. So I go out and try out, and I still wasn't, that good at the time. And I remember it was like me, Ryan Cohen, who's an old X Factor player, Kenny Rosenberg, shout out, one of my favorite snake players ever, and this guy, Adam Geist, who was a Midwest guy. So,
shout out to Kenny the Keymaker. That's what we call him.
Yeah. So out of those 4 guys they were trying out, I was actually the one that didn't make the team. But then when they went back and talked, there was some political stuff going on, and they didn't want Kenny on the team. So I was the next runner-up. So I got on the team.
Wow.
But I was like not even in the picture for playing like the first event of 2010, which was Phoenix with the Ironman. So I had an opportunity to go play with R&T All-Stars, who was like a mix of like old Miami Rage guys, Jerry, like Damien, all those dudes. Yeah. And I played that event with them. We got second to Dynasty Entourage. And then I remember going into the next event, which I think was Chicago. Rodney asked me to play with Dynasty Entourage and pro. And so I was like, hell yeah. So I remember like, you can play with them because you're not playing with us because you're not ready. But if you play the Ironman, you have to sit out the match. I'm like, okay, well, I'm not even that good. So it wouldn't matter, whatever.
And Kyle, before you go on with the story, you keep reiterating that you were not that good. What, if you can put it into a context, what was the changing factor that made you good, would you say?
So the biggest thing I would say, and I always say this, is just the experience of playing better players, like putting yourself in difficult situations and like, getting to like a big Rolodex in a sense, and data logged in your brain so that, when you're confronted with a situation, you're able to like look through that in a millisecond and execute it. Or you gonna say something, Marcelo?
Yeah. Oh yeah. When you're done. Sorry, it's just a thing Tyler and I do, so we don't cut each other off.
Sorry. I thought you were raising your hand.
We should have keyed you in on this before the show.
Yeah.
I came stumbling in late from the golf course and I wasn't able to properly start us off. Sorry.
It's all right. But yeah, I mean, that's pretty much like, it was forcing myself into situations, and that continued on. And I'll get to that here when I got to Dynasty, but like, putting myself into situations where you're forced to learn quick. And I tell guys that all the time, like, put yourself in difficult situations. It sucks, but that's what's going to give you the most growth, the quickest.
Totally.
And
it's not going to be easy.
Dude. Yeah. And like and I was going to say this at the end, but like, along with the experience, like Marcelo is saying this too, and I always say at these BKI things, I'm like, you have to look at it from a business standpoint. Like, you got to network with these pro guys, because when you are ready for that jump, like, those are going to be your guys that you can like tug on their shirt and be like, hey, can you help me with this opportunity? And that's what like you guys were in Malice, and those guys were for me to get me to that next level, because I did go up and ask, was that annoying kid that would ask you questions at the event when you're like, get out of here. But like, if I could get in, 2-3 questions or 10 minutes, whatever it was.
Dude, let me just say, I loved you, Kyle. Like, I remember you when you were a little kid. I was on Oakland and you came up to me, and I literally had one jersey. Like, it's the only jersey I had for my whole like, I don't know. They didn't give me very much.
Actually, I meant to get to this part, but I'm glad you bring it up.
I'll never forget you coming up, and I was like, bro, I'm so sorry. I literally only have one of these. I wouldn't even have a jersey to wear. And I'll never forget you, Kyle. I'll never forget that moment. And dude, I'll never forget us joining in 2013 on Dynasty, winning championships together.
And I think I remember I told you that like the first day. I was like, like, I always remember that. Like, that was 2005 World Cup. I remember asking you, and you were like, I can't get away. And I was like, dude, it's all right. But it's just great to meet you. Like,
I'll never forget it, dude, ever.
Yeah. And so that's also too, like, another reason, like Kenny, I've always had the most respect for Kenny. He's been such a great friend, because I think the next following year, I talked to Kenny, and he's like, dude, I'll give you my jersey at World Cup, like when I'm done with it. And I remember they had just lost you guys had lost to Avalanche. Was it 2005 or 2006, Marcelo? Do you remember that? Or was it 2007?
It was 2008. 2008.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it was 2008 at World Cup in the semi-pro division, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, 2008
or 7. Sure. It was right there.
Yeah. And it was 2008 because Mouse. I was on the Ironman actually.
Okay.
And Mouse had gone back to Aftermath that year.
Okay.
Pretty sure it's 2008. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And so I came up to Kenny. He had just lost. I could tell he was crushed, and I was like, "Hey, sorry, tough loss, but you did promise me that jersey."
Yeah, cough it up.
He took it off. It's a 2XL on him, and anybody knows Kenny. He's like 5 foot flat. Like this jersey's swimming on him. And I was like, "Dude, you have no idea how much this means to me. You've been like such an inspiration to me all my life, because you're like a short guy like me, and I still have that jersey to this day. Like that's one of those jerseys I'll never give away. But also something I skipped over too is like, dude, when I was a senior in high school, and you guys know this, I was 4'7", 4'8", like junior, senior year in high school. My grandmother was like, I think there's something wrong with his growth. So I went and did a bunch of checks and tests and like x-rays and CAT scans, all this stuff, and I had a pituitary gland deficiency actually. So my body wasn't producing the amount of hormones that it should have been. So like your wrist, when they x-ray it, is like a tree trunk, and it tells you by like these rings how old your body is as far as like development. And at the time I was
Blake Yarber just said that we're heritage of trees in the last episode as well. He said that our DNA is from trees. It kind of blew my mind. I'm not sure.
Well, our DNA resembles the DNA of trees more than like just about anything.
Yeah. Interesting. So crazy. That's like, I guess, how your bones work. There's like, they can tell by these rings how much your body thinks is developed. So my body, even though I was 16, had only developed like I had been living for like 12 or 13 years of life. So there was like a 3-year lapse, which was due to this pituitary gland deficiency, not producing enough hormones. So they were like, we need to put him on human growth hormone or he's going to stay under 5 foot. Wow. And I was a little scared at the time. My mom was a little scared at the time. They're like, trust me, I have nothing to worry about. Like he needs it. Like he has a deficiency. So we're not overdoing it. It's not like an adult taking steroids. And then I started getting on and I was like, thank God I was getting ripped. Like, dude, I felt so good, like so much energy. And like, I remember just go to the gym and then I would get out of the gym and just eat burritos. Like, and I was ripped and like, but which set a really good foundation for my metabolism, my body, and just understanding like
you were finally living like the normal people, normal levels. And a lot of people that are deficient in certain things and you have to go and, get it sorted out.
Yeah. And so thankful that my grandma, pointed that out. But
I do want to jump back in because what I was going to say, Kai, that I think is super important for me watching your development as a player. And it's something that all the players that I coach or that we teach, I'm sure you've been asked the same thing. I'm sure Tyler has as well, is like, what can I really do to get to the next level? When you came out and drove out to San Diego, made the move, the whole idea and the reason that I was willing to try to get you a spot is because I saw that you had everything necessary to be a top level player. You were an incredible athlete. You were very fundamentally sound. You had already done everything that you could to maximize your skill given what you had. You couldn't go any further where you were. The next step is, like you said, playing better people. That's the only way that you can get better. And that's what I always tell players is, well, look, first, work on your fundamentals, work on all of your skills, be a top athlete, and make sure that everything that you're in control of that you can do on your own is as good as it's going to get, as good as it can get at that time. Then it comes down to playing better people and being put in these situations against top level players that are going to make you pay for your mistakes. Yep. That way you learn not to make those mistakes. You learn how to break down the field in a more efficient, more effective way. Yep. And to me, when it happened, it actually happened relatively quick, in my opinion, where you went from struggling to be on the semi-pro team in 2009, end of 2009, so 2010, to where you were playing with the Ironmen. And that was 2011 was your first year with them, right?
No, 2010.
2012. Yeah. 2010. Okay. Yeah.
2010. Yeah.
Then am I thinking? No, it was 2012 is when I felt that you had your breakout year with the Ironman.
Yeah. It took me a little bit to get my feet under me.
No, dude, that's not that long. So my point is like you went from kind of struggling in semi-pro to being a major threat in the pro division after 2 seasons of playing in the pro division. And what I thought is with the Ironman, you were starting to play every point. So you were seeing top level players on a consistent basis. And the moment that you got that opportunity to play against really good players on a consistent basis in a tournament setting, your game went from 0 to 60. You just elevated so fast.
Yeah.
And so like, that is just a testament to players. They're like, oh, I want to play another year in D3. Now screw that. Skip ahead. And like, I get it. You don't want to mess up your ranking, this and that. Look, it might be a tough learning
That's
curve.
bullshit, dude.
It is the best way to learn.
For sure.
As often as you can, go and play against the best person that you can. Tyler, you always say this. Find the best person at the field and play them one-on-ones. I remember I always give major love to Bobby, dude. When I was coming up through the ranks on Aftermath and when I first got on the Ironman when I was 15, 16 years old, he would grab me. We would drive out to Vegas, hang out with our buddies from LTZ for the weekend. And we'd always say, we're going out there to practice. Everybody would be too hungover. They wouldn't practice. Bobby and I would wake up Saturday and Sunday and just him and I would go to the field. Everyone else was like dead, wouldn't come. We would go to the field and play one-on-ones over and over and over and over and over. And in the beginning, he would just beat the brakes off me, but it got to a point to where I was beating him, and the tides were turning. But I actually have always, like, Bobby was a major, everyone that does make it in any sport, in anything in life, you have mentors along the way. And that's why it's so important to understand the value of mentors, because if you have too big of an ego, you're never going to be mentored. You're never going to accept that help from people that are going to assist you in whatever journey you're on.
Sure.
And mentors are crucial. You look at the greats. I mean, Kobe Bryant, his mentors were Hakeem Olajuwon, Michael Jordan, Bill Russell. He looked at Tim Duncan, all of the greats he took from them. Michael Jordan, same thing. Like, all the greats, that's what they do. And that's what you have to do, because people have already done it. Now you can carve your own path and make your own way, but you have to look. And so anyway, to cut it short, I'm kind of rambling, but that, for me, that's what it was. As soon as you started getting consistent spins against top level players, your game just spiked, and that was, to me, that was really the start of your paintball career. The total rebirth there. Go ahead, Ty.
Sure. He was building the Rolodex. He was building his Rolodex, and he was getting ready for 2013, where we formed Megatron.
Yeah. And so, a big reason for that too is because, like, Billy Wing retired, Miko left the team, Oliver went back to Dynasty, 2011, I believe that was, and I was forced into a position where I have to make myself like a veteran. Like, I was like forced into a veteran spot, a starter. And like, I was working at Dye at the time. And I became the team manager. And like, I'm like,
whoa, that's crazy.
22, 23 at this time. And I'm like dealing with all the flights and the hotels for all Dye staff, all the pit guys, like all the techs and the whole team. And then dealing with, like, all right, our pods order, like who's got what job, which was great because it taught me a lot of stuff. But I also feel like it was kind of not letting me fully be a player at the time. And that was like a little drawback to what I wanted. But I was so, involved with everything, and I liked where I was at, and I liked having that position, and being a starter on the team and having a lot of say. And I remember it was, and just really quick before I go into this. So remember, like I said, I was getting all second places. When I played with R&T, we got another second place. And like, so it was, slowly, just getting those only second places. Palm Beach Vipers World Cup Division 1, second place. Never just getting that taste of winning a national event. And then same thing with the Ironman. It wasn't second places, but we were like constantly third and fourth for like 2011, 2012. So I remember for World Cup 2012, they brought on Mike Hinman to help coach with Skinny Kevin. And, Hinman and I, like, we kind of had like a little bit of, we butted heads after that situation, but we grew to have like an amazing relationship. And I'm have the utmost, gratitude for that guy, for what he taught me. But at the time I was like, oh man, I think this is going to kind of like throw a little wrench in what we've been building, So I think, and that got a lot of guys kind of timid. So Short was actually the first one to make the move at the beginning of 2013 in Dynasty. And he was like, dude, come with me. Are you kidding me? Like, come, let's go. And I was like, nah, I think I'm going to stay. Like, I'm working at Dye. I'm the team manager. Like, I'm getting to play. I don't know about this. And he's like, dude, if you don't come with me, this is going to be like the worst mistake of your entire life. And I was like, yeah, all right. And
he wasn't wrong, dude. He wasn't wrong.
So I come to the team 2013, and it's like all of like anybody that we pretty much had the dream team of like, of fun, skill, like superstars, just everything you wanted. We got HK, we had, all the pieces were there, and everyone just like meshed instantly. Like, shout out to like Dalton, just hilarious, amazing person. And like, dude, and then I got to play with Oliver again. I think he was just like, that was towards the end of his Ironman career when I was there. So I could tell like maybe he wasn't at a point of happiness. He was ready to go back to Dynasty. But then when I got on Dynasty with him, I got that like pure Oliver, like just life valuable information on all levels.
Dude, those years, the amount of information that I know you picked up and I picked up are revolutionary to the growth of my development as a person and 100%. As a player. Like, just unreal. Yeah.
It is unreal. And Kyle, it's funny you say that maybe it was a little dull towards the end of his Ironman career, but I had the same Oliver you had probably at the start of his Ironman career. That's when I played on the Ironman with him, So similar to like when he came back to Dynasty. But yeah, I mean, he was just such a major source of inspiration on and off the field. And to this day, I mean, that I just did his 8-day course. He puts together these different personal development courses. His most recent
that was the Hawk.
The Hawk. Yeah. Major shout out. And, it's funny. It's a lot of the practices are things that I already do, because I've been around Oliver and all the Dynasty guys are very into how can you become a better person? How can you work on yourself? How can you, grow and find new ways? And Kyle, you're the same, obviously. And so it was nice, in quarantine, I'm sure everyone can relate to just jumping back into bad habits. And, gyms are closed. All the stuff that keeps you on track is closed. And it's really hard during these times to, stay disciplined with what you're eating and all of the above. I'm sure everyone's drinking a little extra wine and beers and stuff like that. And, it was nice to just kind of jump back on track for 8 days and reset. And so hopefully keep some momentum moving forward.
Yeah. It's the razor sharp edge. Is that what it's called?
Yeah. The razor sharp edge. Yeah. And he's got a bunch of different courses. Like there's Beautiful. One, the Gentle Warrior. I'm probably going to check that out too. Again, it's just a really good way to kind of get on track, and hold yourself accountable for things. And, again, a lot of it isn't necessarily practices I've never heard of, there's some stuff in there that's definitely Oliver just has a great way to
a lot of people probably have never heard of it though, like a lot you have, but a lot of people probably.
I agree. I agree. Totally. I totally agree.
Yeah.
And I'm not, I'm not trying to sound like I know it all or anything. It's just I've spent most of my life trying to figure out how I can be better. That's what all of us, we try to do that kind of stuff. So when
what's
you
his website? I'm so sorry. I want to make sure that we boost him as much as we can with this.
Yeah. It's the Razor Sharp Edge or Razor Sharp Edge. Let me find out real quick.
So everybody go check it out, Oliver, and support Ollie. This dude is putting out so much beautiful content for the people, and we need to support him. He's been such a revolutionary player.
Dude, he gave us so much. It's like,
man, we got to give back.
Yeah. He gave everyone like a milestone to test for. It's like he gave us the Michael Jordan of basketball for paintball, like
for sure. It was crazy what he's did. And Kyle, let's after this we'll dip back into your story here.
Yeah, it's razorsharpedge.teachable.com, but I actually think that's just a link to my course. Look, if you go to Oliver's Instagram, he has it on there. Oliver White Cloud, I'm sure everybody knows what his Instagram is. I think that link right there in his bio will take you to his website. It's ollielang.com. And that's it.
I was thinking that. Sorry, I should have interjected at the beginning.
Sorry. I totally forgot. Yeah, ollielang.com. That's it. That has all the juice.
Sorry, Kyle.
No, it's okay. And this is something I was going to mention, but I'll just say it right now because we're on the topic of Oliver. Like this was like 2014 or 15, but I was going through like just like a lot of just like random anxiety, just like about nothing really like. I don't know what the word for it is, like nothing just really
life.
Just life, like going into adulthood like that.
Totally.
I'm away from my family. Like I'm here. This is me. This is my life. Like I'm the only person that can take care of me. That's like, going to Europe and traveling alone and like that, those were like really anxiety driven. Like I would almost have like panic attacks. And I remember talking to Oliver about these things and he's like, dude, that's natural. Like that's your body, like, giving you all these aspects of how to be happy. He's like, don't you think it would be boring if you just felt happy all the time? He's like, then you wouldn't know what happiness is. You have to deal with the struggles to understand what success is and what happiness is and to feel good. He's like, you need those. So be grateful that you do have anxiety. Don't suppress it or don't think it should go away. Like just observe it. And I did, like, that was such an impactful, and like, he introduced me to Osho, which I know you guys have read, and like that was for a lot of people that don't know, he's kind of like I would say almost like just a spiritual teacher, kind of like guru sense, but like just not a specific belief in any certain religion, but just like soothing life, giving you an understanding of like, that life isn't meant to be like, overstressed about like all these certain little intricate things.
You hit on something very powerful, Kyle, and it's observing, like being the observer and watching your actions, and not tying emotion to it and not getting all caught up in it, but observing it and learning from it and using it as a point of reference to bounce off of and grow, right? Because that's really our objective. We want to grow.
Yeah.
That's actually a big point in the Hawk program that Oliver has.
Yeah.
Is the Hawk is supposed to be you, watching yourself from above, from kind of this third person kind of view, and nice. Being hyper aware of everything around you, your actions and how you're interacting, with the environment, with people around you, and just not missing anything, being incredibly observant like a Hawk is, right?
Yeah.
That's the whole theme behind it. It's pretty cool.
Yeah.
I love that.
So as we're getting kind of towards the end of this story here, like, so I got that first year on the Dynasty, and, I still think I had a lot to learn, which I did from Dynasty especially. But we came out firing and won that first event, dominant.
Yeah.
And then turned around and won the second event. And I was like on top of the world, and I was playing with Art Chaos in Europe.
Oh yeah,
that's right.
I was playing a regional tournament with them. It was like Slava's League, the CPS. I was playing that, so we were dominating that, and then we didn't win. I think we won 2 of them, but like the Millennium, like we were top 4 every event. And for any of you guys, like I know a lot of people know who Art Chaos was, but like it was. The line was me, Mishka, Sergey, Fedorov, and Malloy. That was like the main 5. And I'm like, dude, it was such a cool experience to be dominating the US, dominating that. And then that was actually the first time I was getting to go to Australia, won 2 events over there. So like 2013 for me was like, all that build up, all those second places, all those hardships, all that stress, that was like such a relief off me. Like,
it was like an earthquake.
Off. Yeah, I was like,
it was an earthquake, dude.
Dude, it was amazing. And then like, I think it carried forward, and like we finished out strong. We won that season. We had an unfortunate like event on that third event that we could have maybe won. But and going back to like one thing too that I was going to bring up on like what makes you a better player. So like Dynasty, like Alex and Ryan and those guys were still trying to figure out ways to make me better, because I was still like, a fast, strong, threat in the snake, but my survivability wasn't that good. And that was because like, maybe I got like frazzled, or like I was getting too like worked up that I had to do something. So they forced me to play tons of 2-on-1s where I'm the one by myself, like in a corner. And that I always tell kids, if you can't play better people, play 2-on-1s. Because that puts you in that uncomfortable position, and you learn how to efficiently deal with a tough situation, and that will translate into your game. Because besides that's giving you like, it's definitely not in your odds, but it's still giving you somewhat of a decently fair fight that you can. It's really hard to kill one of those guys, and then if you do kill one of those guys, now it's a 50-50 battle. And you're tired, and you dealt with the 2-on-1 now. So those really help me elevate my game to be a little bit more calm in the snake. And then so going forward, now we're into 2014 with Dynasty, and then this year was kind of a struggle, but also I think a big help for my own mental space going forward with the team. But so that was, we kind of had a rough year, and then didn't do that well. And then 2014 Riverside 4th event, we were playing that. I forget what the
challengers, the elimination. I
forget what the term was called for that match.
I don't know. All I know is we had those football style jerseys on. That's what I remember.
With the numbers on the front. You swore they were cursed.
Oh man! As soon as I saw him, I said, this is bad."
Yeah. So
the regulation match.
Regulation, that's what it was.
Yeah.
And it was us in Houston Heat
over here. Yeah, dude.
Houston Heat to see who has to play semi-pro the next event.
That was the year though that Houston Heat wasn't that great, right? They lost all the Russians.
Yeah. Oh yeah, because they're on our Chaos.
Yeah.
Which our Chaos even was up and down out of the Challengers division like two or three times. I mean, Infamous was down there. There was a lot of good teams that got down there. I was kind of a silly idea,
it was
but
crazy. Yeah.
Whatever. So I remember going to that match. We were the team was torn on how to play the field. And I remember before that match, we were still torn. And I remember like thinking, God, I just hope we don't lose this. Like we can get through this and everyone can just be on the same page. Didn't happen. And that hit me so hard because I was like,
yeah,
dude, I've looked up so much to this team my entire life. And now I get to help them. And I have helped them. You know, we had a great season last year, and Dynasty is Dynasty. Like they don't belong in the semi-pro division. Are you kidding me?
Like, it wasn't semi-pro. It was the Challengers division.
I think it is semi-pro, but I don't know. It's like I was like, it hit me so hard, and it stuck with me because I was like, I will never let this happen again. You know, especially if this is how it continues on. Like I'll do everything it takes. And so that translated into 2015. You know, we had we won MAO 2014, huh?
Yeah.
The second event, I believe. Yeah. So it was a, complete wash. We won an event, and then we had that crazy match in the Challengers division against Infamous. Came down to one-on-ones.
Matches ever.
Dude, and all of our matches against Infamous were like that in 2013 too, 2014, like really wild. So fast forward in 2015, we didn't win an event all year, and we're coming into that World Cup, and a lot of practice is going into it. And just before that event, Dalton and I were playing with the ML Kings in Europe, and we got second. And Houston Heat beat us out in a really close match that I think we could have won. So we're going pretty hungry into World Cup, and I mean, everyone I think has seen this, and everyone knows what went down. But I literally remember thinking that in my mind. I don't know what point it was, but like it was definitely just Marcelo and I left on the field. And I remember thinking like, dude, I cannot, like I thought about when we went to the Challengers division in that moment. And I was like, I cannot let these guys down again. And like, everyone's always like, how'd you think to do that? But like Marcelo, like when you watch the video, Marcelo actually is picking up Fedorov and Malloy. And like if he hadn't shot those two guys, like one of them, I might have shot one of them, but one of them would have shot me. So like, and I remember Marcelo and I were like, we couldn't see each other, and we're just like, you could hear the terror in our voice, like, "Are you alive?" And like I'm like, "Yeah, are you alive?" And he's like, "Yeah," and we're just like, "Oh, hold on," like. And then I just hear these guns like machine gunning like right outside my bunker, and it's Malloy and Fedorov like stacked right next to each other trying to shoot Marcelo. And like I just like, oh, okay, come up, and like they're just standing out in the open, looked at Marcelo as like Marcelo's like clipping them, shoot those guys. And then I'm like, I just got to go back and watch the gate. So there was like a lot of luck in it too, just thinking about making those right decisions. And
it's not luck, dude. It's not luck. Like
you had, maybe too.
You had the understanding of, okay, shot these two off the right side. They're gone. Got to watch the gate. There's like 5 seconds left. I mean, again, that's one of those moments where it looks like you're just totally winging it, but you're not, because you put somebody that doesn't have that experience in that situation. They're not going to make that shot on Greg as he's trying to hit the buzzer.
That was the one person I was like, okay, this guy shot, this guy shot. Oh shit, Greg. I remember thinking, oh shit, where's Greg? And I just had to take a look at the gate.
Yes. Like, dude, that's not luck, man. That's preparation. That's good timing. That's experience. That's all those years of hard ass work, man. paying off so that we could hoist you up, dude. Yeah. And we won the World Cup. That was insane. Dude. That was a fast 2-on-4.
I knew I shot him, but I knew it was like so close that I was like, dude, no one saw that. And I remember there was this ref, his name's Austin, the tall ref, who I'd actually been having problems with the past few years. He'd call me on a lot of like bullshit overshooting calls. One time he like kind of need me in the back to get me off the field. Like we were constantly feud. That's the only ref that I know to this day. Really like, and we're cool now. Like he apologized to me a couple times. I've apologized to him. Like, sorry for getting heated with you. But that was actually the ref that was standing behind me. Like they could see literally down the side of my gun, like what I was looking at. And he came up to me while that was going on. And in my ear, I remember him whispering, like, I saw that you won World Cup.
Dude,
let's go.
So for me, first of all, Fedorov should have got a major penalty.
Because
I roasted him and he kept coming and shoots me. But I was like, okay. We talk about this all the time. I'm like, I'm coming off the field. I'm not risking a penalty. Yeah. And as I was coming off, I'm obviously watching it break down. You can see it in the video too.
Yeah, you're jumping.
Because I saw you shoot Greg right before he hit the buzzer too. You know? And so as soon as I saw the hit on his leg, I jumped celebrating because I was like, dude, they got to get this right. They got to get it right.
Yeah. And then I was like, still like unsure. Yeah. And then when the ref came and said that to me, I like, when you watch Dragon Ball Z and they go like Super Saiyan, my body felt like that was the best high and feeling I've ever had in my entire life to this day. And like, I just remember like running down the sidelines, like just an immense, just energy, just booming. And,
well, you also had bright golden hair, right? I think.
It became a tradition and we kept doing it. And lots of other divisional players and started doing it because of that, which was
you're the ultimate trendsetter. That's why Kyle Karen, you got the brand.
Everything.
Yep. Shout out.
Yeah, I'm actually rocking some Lyle Karen. Everybody go dial in on LyleKaren.com. Support Kyle. He's got his clothing brand. I even got the background on my on the YouTube here. We got Lyle Karen.
Yeah. So that was like definitely one of the most amazing experiences of my entire life.
Bro, that was insane.
Yeah. And then so, fast forward, we play that next year. We, that's when Impact started getting on their horse and starting to take a pretty dominant position in the pro league. And so I believe that was that first event was Vegas. We took second place to them.
Mm-hmm.
I believe. And then we were starting to just not play as well, lose a couple players here and there, like kind of retiring, not playing anymore. And then some teams started asking me, throwing some pretty decent size offers at me. That was like, and I talked to the guys on the team, like the elders, Ryan and Alex and Yosh and those guys. And they're like, dude, there comes to a point where it's just like, you always have, you have a family here. And like, he's like, you played with us for, not that much money. And Ryan was like, dude, go make some money for a little, like, like take some opportunities and go try some new experiences. And he's like, you're always welcome to come back. Like, he's like, you've been nothing but good. And like, same thing. It's just been an amazing relationship. And that's why I'm always like still so thankful and still hold a great relationship with all you guys. And so
we miss you, buddy. Anytime, buddy.
And then I remember Tyler was gonna give me shit. He's gonna clobber me leaving the team. And so played that year with Ironman, or the 2 years, and we didn't have like the most successful. We got 1 second place, and we had some difficult events, but like just great learning experience as far as more kind of like a leadership role with more of my skill level than when I was on the Ironman the first time. And then obviously now, super thankful for Todd. He's an amazing person. We're still really good friends, and there was no hard feelings on that separation for this year going into Impact. And
talk to me about playing for Impact, man. What's that been like for you?
Well,
yeah.
Obviously we haven't played, that much, but I was pretty, a lot of these teams, when we go to different teams, like a lot of the players, because you played with a lot of those guys, but Impact, that squad has been pretty solid and like stuck around. So I had never played with any of those guys besides Mouse and then Trevor, who came with me. So, but one thing that I did love about that team, I do love about that team is like everyone, and it's the same thing with you guys. Everyone was like at just a high level of paintball IQ that like if you have an issue at all, like it gets handled right away and gets
Absolutely.
fixed, and that's one of the benefits of playing with a really strong veteran elite team, and nothing against like Ironman, and like look, they just won the first event, and it's obviously bittersweet and kind of like I've got a lot of crap for that, but nothing but happy for them, and I think I had no doubts that if the year would have kept going, we would have sat in a really strong position and won an event or two.
Well, I mean, no disrespect to them, but I think they were surprised as well.
Like
that was like, whoa,
and A-Rod played out of his mind, and it's so funny. I remember Archie was giving me crap after, and I was like, Archie, you cut Nick, and Nick's on the Ironman, and you got beat by them twice in the same tournament, which is really hard to do, especially as X Factor playing the Ironman. I was like, I don't want to hear from you. And Marcelo and I always talk about this because it happens a lot when we're, in the last few years when we're playing each other, because you'll play the team in the prelims.
Yeah, that's right.
And if they, whatever team, like you don't want to face that team again unless you have lost in the prelims, because
last year we played on Golden State Kings. It was me, you, Ryan, Archie, Blake Yarber, right? We had a great squad. Johnny, Charlie, Rainey came in at the end, but we kept losing the Impact in the prelims, and then on Sunday, smoked them.
And then I remember towards the end of the season, we were like, wait, we have to play Impact again. If we start winning, should we just like let them win to keep it going? But there was, I think was it the last event that we beat them twice? There was one event where I think we did beat them in the prelims, and then
I don't remember which one it was, to be honest. I think it was Amsterdam.
Yeah, I feel like it was.
I don't remember because they won Prague, so we didn't beat them on Sunday in Prague. I'm not sure. I don't remember, but you're right, dude. It is always that thing. Well, there's something to be said about it too. When you get beat by a team, you have more to learn. You know? And if you have an experienced team with experienced players, you're gonna figure it out. You realize what was exposed and you can address it. But if you win and aren't faced with any adversity, it's hard to learn until you get slapped in the face in the later Sunday rounds by something you weren't prepared for.
Yeah,
that's right.
No, I agree. And I mean, so that's kind of where my story is, where I'm at right now. It's just kind of, it's unfortunate that this is how the year ended up, but,
how have you been navigating this madness, man? How have you been navigating COVID times, as we call it?
Call of Duty, bro.
Dude, Call of Duty and school has been keeping me busy. And then also, besides like teaching clinics, I've been coaching teams a little bit more, which is awesome because that gives you that, that competing edge. And it's like, that actually brings up a good point that I was talking about earlier, that regardless if it's, paintball or whatever. And I know that you guys probably feel this, and everyone feels this at some point in time when whatever they do for a long amount of time. But like, there are times when you're just like, man, I don't know if like still my heart's in paintball or whatever it is, but like the biggest thing that like, I think paintball gives you is just that like instinctual urge to compete, like to have a challenge, and to like, that's what, like, I'm so thankful for paintball still to this day, because like it gives me that like that level to like compete at the top and really just test myself and get that challenge, because you don't get that, even like we're talking about video games, like it's not the same, it's not that physical. And like I was when I started dating this girl, like I was showing her some stuff about paintball, and she's like, how do people get like that excited? And like, I never remember, like she did like gymnastics stuff. So like, I never remember getting that excited. I was like, well, when you're doing it like at a high level where it's so hard to get that first place or win, you're just overcome by emotion because there's so many hours that go into one moment, and then to get that fulfillment is like there's it's hard to put it into words, because it's
totally.
But
yeah, the games are so short, and you put in literally like days on days on days on days on days on months, and then you just keep grinding and grinding, and then the months turn to years, and you're still chasing it and chasing it and chasing it, and then finally, like Matty Marshall says, one Sunday it rolls around, and you and the boys are yelling at each other out there, and holding that trophy.
It's such an incredible feeling, like the epitome of like sports and competing just in general.
For sure,
that feeling, is something everyone attains to have.
For sure, bro. How have you been staying healthy? You've been able to work out still and do all that?
They're not as quality workouts, but like I've been running a little bit, and we have some like weights in the garage to do like.
Good.
I'm still in shape, and I have good metabolism, but I'm not in like peak shape. Once paintball starts, I'm definitely gonna have to do like a 2-month, grinder.
Of course.
But,
yeah.
Dude, it's hard to motivate in the garage. It's like. And there was, right when the gyms started to open back up, they got closed down. I was like, I remember the one day I was getting ready to go back in. The next day they got closed, and I was like,
Yeah, but, dude, it's been brutal.
One thing I wanted to say about that whole story, and you brought it up earlier, and I listened to, it was a Tim Ferriss podcast. He was talking to this, $1 billion investor, and the guy was like saying, he's like, man, you want to take those risks when you're young, because, and you said it earlier, Tyler, because you have your failures aren't, and like the stuff that happens to you aren't as,
that's right,
detrimental, because you still have supporting factors, depending, most likely you have a parent or grandparents or something that is going to allow you to take those risks. And I think, even though I kind of had to work a lot myself, I still knew my mom and my grandma had my back, which allowed me to be full force with those risks. And like, now I'm, taking risks, you have to be a little bit more careful as an adult. So, and that's when, as a kid, you might as well, take that opportunity, and especially those teenage years where you just need to try to do everything you can.
Well, you have time to recover, you can make these big mistakes. You have plenty of time to recover before the responsibilities are too big. The older you get, the closer you are to having a family, and you do have to save and plan for future and stuff like that. But also on top of it, you get so much experience from those failures, and from those different ventures, that it's tremendously important to your growth. Gary Vee talks about it all the time too, fail as often as possible when you're young, 18 to 24, 26, 28 even. Just try stuff. If you have a passion, pursue it, try it. If it doesn't work, don't buy into the conversation that you need to have everything figured out at 22 and own your own place and all this stuff. No, you got time. Time. Look, we all just turned 30. Tyler, you're 31. I still feel young. I feel like I'm 20, right?
Dude, same. Yeah.
So it's not we're always in such a rush when we're younger. Whoa. We're always in such a rush.
That was the horn for the field. Everybody go.
I got the NXL here. Yeah. The thing is that my girlfriend's dryer. I think it's loud.
Oh, nice.
There's a dog over here. He freaked out too. Big boy over here.
Hey. Oh yeah, there he is.
Yeah.
Jackson.
Dude, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
You gotta fail. You gotta do it.
Dude, yeah, that's definitely, part of it all, part of the whole puzzle. And like Oliver's good, he always explains that. So
totally. Yeah, you gotta fail up, man. You gotta fail in the right direction. And I know, Kyle, it hasn't always been easy for you, buddy. It's been a long journey for you to be sitting where you're at right now. But for players out there that want to, do something similar to what you've done, what is some good advice that you can give to aspiring pro players? And a step further, you've specialized in the snake side. And what does it take to play at the top level on the snake side, in the pros?
So to answer the part of the question of just like, what does it take to get to the top? It's, kind of like what I've been talking about through a lot of the podcasts. For me, just, networking, becoming friends. Like, I know a lot of these guys are a little modest, or they can be a little shy, but like, you got to break out of that and you got to start building friendships. Like,
totally.
And then that, comes along with your hard work, but it's going to pay off because those two are going to combine and become hybrid at some point. They like, same thing for you guys, that became your friends. And then I did the other work on the side, so that when I got to a point where I could be at your guys' level, then I'm playing as your teammate and I'm still learning from you guys. And Marcel and I, like, when we went every time we go to these BKI camps, and we're like, there's like a certain level, for some reason, like when player gets to like D3, D2, they feel like they can't learn anything from paintball clinics anymore, or like from a pro, which is so odd.
What's
like,
up with that? Yeah.
I don't get it, because I'm still learning from you guys. Like, we're all learning from each other. Like,
exactly.
Like, we go out there and like Marcelo, Nick, Laval, and I were all working on the same field together. And like, with Nick's a newer guy we brought on to that. And like, I know, like, just from him talking so much, I learned so much more, just like about the way he thinks about the game. And as a teammate, like, that stuff's good for me to know, because I play alongside him. I know how his brain works. Like,
as an opponent, it was great for me.
Exactly. You're always learning stuff, and which is awesome. And that's what I think. And I know, I think the argument to that is that, like, a lot of the clinics, you have to be tailored to all levels. So you're like, dude, I don't need to go over snap shooting. I don't need to go over sliding. But there are ways, like, dude, all you guys do it. I do it. Ryan does it, where we're going to help specific teams. And that's when you really get the good bits and gems of knowledge, from like, trying to reach out to these pro players, like, especially for these guys that are already on teams already, that maybe have two teams. If you have 12 guys, 12 to 15 guys, whatever, dude, everybody chips in 50 to $100, and you have a pro to come to your practice.
It's valuable knowledge that you can get. Every single time that I have gone and done a clinic or an event like that, there's players on the team that say the same thing, and they come up to you and say, I honestly wasn't sure how much I was going to learn from this, and it blew my mind.
Yeah.
Every time.
Period.
Every single time.
Period.
Yeah. No, it is. It's because you, like, they have, like, most of the time what it is they're the top at their field. They're the top divisional player. So they've they're stuck in this place of like, this is what I know. Obviously, I know I can learn more, but I don't, So then when you come out there and you basically logically break their train of thought, or what they've been stuck in this tunnel vision of thought, and open their mind to thinking outside the box for concepts, they're like, they take it in, because it's usually spoken by us. It's pretty logical. It's easy to figure out. And it's like a aha moment where they go, holy shit, man. Like, I can't believe I didn't think about that. And, I always say this too, for pro teams. Like, when we were on the Ironman, I was like, we got to go travel to other regions, because like, when the teams that play in the regions, they start to follow trends. Like, like, say there's a conglomerate of like 3 teams in Florida, and they're always playing each other. They're going to play a similar style. And then when they face, Impact on Sunday, and they haven't seen all those different looks of playing style, like West Coast fastball or East Coast, like a little more slower pace. Like, if you haven't seen all those elements, then you're not going to be fully prepared, and you're going to have to pull something out of your ass to overcome a hard game, because if you're not prepared for all those different scenarios. So it's like, that's one thing, I advise for other pro players, is just like, make sure that you're fully prepared for everything that could happen. And if you can only play your team, then you need to set up situational stuff, like this team's up bodies, pocket versus wide breakouts, like all those different components. And like, the island drill, which I think Dynasty, has really made a staple as like one of probably the most essential drill that you can do to help you learn a field and learn the aggressor and slower sides, but also just a great fundamental element of like knowing who needs to like be on their horse and who needs to value their body. Now, to answer your second part about the snake thing, there's the 3 biggest components I've thought about. Like, one obviously is like survivability.
Yes.
2 is consistency, and then 3 is like you constantly have to be a threat, you know, whether that's making the other team have to worry about you, or you have to take advantage of those holes, and take 2 to 3 players off the field a couple times a match as a front guy in general. You know, you guys know that, like whether it's on the Dorito side or the front side, like you have to consistently be doing that. And then when you're held up, you have to know how to switch gears and give that support to your middle guys, or give that support to your Dorito sides, and then also know when to flip the switch and turn the field when the focus goes on to where that other side of the attack.
Totally. It's all about the pressure, right? Like you have the ball, and you can feel when you have 2 or 3 guns on you and you have all that pressure. That's good too, because then you're able to take that ball, pass it to another player, be like, yo, this is what I got on me, and it alleviates your teammates, and they can start to make things happen.
Yeah. And to another thing I was going to bring up when we were talking about Mouse earlier is that, like, in my earlier years of playing pro, like I would say probably from like, I don't know, 2011 or 12 all the way till like, I don't know, maybe it was like 2015 that I finally realized this. But like every time we would go head to head in the snake, he and I would be so worried about bunkering each other for our own egos that like it took us out of the game. Like we're not even like helping the team at that sense. Like we are, and we're going to shoot other players, but like on an overall, like 9 times out of 10, like we were so concentrated on just shooting each other. And you see that constantly by front players. They want to get that guy right off in front of them off the field because they're so worried about, like, you know, bunkering that guy for their own selves, because it's fulfilling to bunker a guy. And also, like, you want to make that guy like hurt in a sense because you want to get in his head. But like, there was something that clicked for me, you know, towards the end of my years playing on Dynasty. There was 2 things. One, Rusty was like, hey, stop engaging with people. Only engage with people. You're not going to get kills back here in the God, in the Snake 1, and then the insert bunker. Like, you're going to get kills up in the Snake 5. But every time you engage with someone, you're giving someone a 50-50 chance to shoot you. But if you get up there to the Snake 3 and the Snake 4 and the Snake 5, you're going to shoot all those guys in the back across the field. And then you can, yeah. And then so like that, you know, that was something that stuck with me. And because of like with that, along with Rusty saying that, I was having a bad like portion of the year, and Rusty actually sat me for like a whole event until that got engraved in me. And then I remember just thinking like, dude, what have I been doing this whole time? So like something clicked where, dude, now when I'm teaching front guys, like when I'm going to teach clinics or whatever, I'm like, dude, if there's someone in the front of you in the snake, don't even worry about that guy. Get up to like the 50 snake, or even in their snake, and shoot those other 3 bodies across the field. Shoot the back center, the guy in the Dorito corner, and the guy in the Dorito. And even if that guy comes over and you're in his same bunker and he shoots you in the ear from point blank 5 times, think about it. You're in a 5-on-2 now, or 4-on-2. You won. Like, go in as a front player. I feel like you should always have that mindset going into the game that you're going to get 2 kills for your 1 body. And, you know, sometimes obviously you're going to get more sometimes, but like go with the intent that you're going to get your 1 kill to get your team that advantage. And you're not leaving the field till someone else comes with you, whether they bunker you off the field or you maybe pick up another kill. But like, you need to value your body at that point so that you can insert yourself so far up the field that they're forced to give up a body, or you're going to get more kills. And it's like, you know,
that's the old Mick pick too.
Exactly. And we're talking about that too. It's the same theory, you know, like, you got to think of that numbers game, and you got to realize, okay, I just killed you see so many times someone kills like 1 or 2 guys and they just run down the middle of the field to try to get another body. Nobody knows that he shot those other 2 bodies, and he gets blown up. And then it's like a 3-on-4, and those four guys get surprised because they didn't know the 2 guys had got shot. So they're shooting at spots that are, you know, not even occupied. And then the 3 team is surprising them. It's like, you know, I think that's what really like the main tools are.
And you have a big responsibility, man, as a snake player. You know, it's a lot on your shoulders as that lead player on either side of the field. to make those crucial moves and get those crucial kills to alleviate the pressure for the rest of your guys. And without you alive, just simply like you said, being alive, being consistently alive, being there, that does a tremendous amount for your team, more so than you being the badass battler that, yeah, you win 50% of them, but then you get shot and then you're dead, and it's just not helping,
Yeah. I mean, it's like, for me, like, why am I going to sit there and try to battle Marcelo, who's like, probably top 5 gun battlers in the back. Like I'm going to sit there and I'm going to try to do that with him from the snake one where he's standing up like in an insert bunker in the back center. Like, no, that's really, really poor choice of me. Like I need to get up to the 50 snakes so I could try to shoot you in the side, Tyler. Like, and I'll deal with Marcelo later if I can't. Like
the longer you're alive in that position, the harder my job is.
For sure.
That's right.
Because you have to respect it.
Exactly. And so you're smart with that, but it's only if you're up the field. If you're sitting in the back of the snake one, I'm not too worried about you. You get up the field and don't engage with me, you get those easy kills. God, it makes our job back there so much more difficult. So much.
Yeah. So it's just there's a lot of elements obviously that go into, and this could be this could be a 2-hour conversation, but like
for sure,
it's like I said at the beginning, there's those 3 concepts. It's knowing what the other team is doing and knowing that, like, if I slide into the snake 2 and I know they're not in the snake yet, but I look up and I see that you're walking off the field, Tyler, and you were in like the Dorito insert bunker, I have to like erase what my goal was essentially, or look to blow down the field, because I just knew that you were holding the Dorito lane. And if you're walking off the field, on a lot of these Dorito layouts, there's like only one spot that can hold like a lot of the Doritos. And so I have to then in turn make a decision. Do I try to blow down the field before they come down the Dorito side? Or do I look to fill that hole till I can yell back to Marcelo, who's behind me in the snake, hey, help them over there. I'll just hold over here and keep myself alive till we close this gap. It's like, there's so many more elements into that. It's like you see that, that's what really makes the elite front guys, and especially the snake guys, like the few that I think there are, who they are, because they can be like essentially a bat guy in the front. They can help, and they're also there to be that missile that's also going to get you 4 kills in a point too. So like,
we've seen that a lot with these big bunker fields, man. The lead snake guy will turn into the anchor, and then you'll have another guy fill in behind him, and he'll go, and this guy will keep holding that lane. It's been really interesting what they've been doing with the fields lately. It's been crazy.
Yeah. And I mean, it's just like, the game is always evolving like every few years. Like we dominated because we played a really good slow game, but we were able to like turn it on when we needed to. And those like points where we scored a lot of like 30-second points, 1-minute points. But like, it's always changing. And then like Impact came out and they had a lot of speed and power and aggression and controlled aggression. They kind of, changed. We had those like 3 years where we're really perfecting the game that I would say kind of like AC Dallas plays now. And, damage a little bit too. And it's just like, it's cool. It's interesting to see like how every few years, like the dominant style kind of like changes a little bit.
Yeah.
And like, one thing I was actually like talking to like Ryan and Mouse and stuff after Vegas was just like, and I think Marcelo, I feel like we were talking about this a little bit too, but just like, I think the Russians play a pretty unique game, and maybe I shouldn't even say this because Kirill's a listener or something, but I think that they do a good job of like mixing it up in a sense. When you play like when you play like a Division I team or something, and they do something completely like that defies like
for sure.
Like,
well, it's like when you go and play overseas somewhere for the first time. And like it's just such unconventional play style that it all of a sudden this guy's shooting you from the hip, but over on the wrong side of the field.
But I think, and I don't really know for sure if they do this. Maybe they do, maybe they don't. But I think that they are really, really, really looking at the long picture, whether that's they're looking at their final match as they're playing their first match, or they're looking at like 5 years from now, how people are going to predict how they play. But like what I love about the Russians right now is they're willing to play completely unorthodox in a random game, whether it's like their first game on Sunday or their quarterfinal game or semifinal game on Sunday or a random prelim game, just so that people can't really expect what they're going to do. And like, that's kind of a big thing, dude. We were so dominant in Vegas, like coming into Sunday, and they played a really unorthodox game kind of against us, and they were able to pick on us, and because we did the same thing, but we thought that our game plan was foolproof, and like even if someone knew how to stop us, they couldn't stop us, but they proved us wrong. And like, but then also like I think that they didn't play that strong against Ironman. Nothing to take away from Ironman, but like
Yeah, I agree. And A-Rod had a big game in the beginning, like we've talked about.
Sorry, I was just getting a phone call there from Mouse, actually.
Shout out to Mouse.
It was like a FaceTime, and it completely shut you guys off. I was like, oh no.
You're good. Yeah, we still saw you. You're good.
Okay, cool. But yeah, like, sorry. I don't know. I think they're doing a really good job right now to be completely like unpredictable, but also really strong, well-oiled machine, like you guys said too.
Yeah, dude. They're insane.
They're willing to play every bunker on the field. They're the one team that will go to the spot that when all the other teams go to practice, they say, that's not a good spot. We're not going to go there. They're willing to put bodies there just because. And it actually, so again, we talk about breaking patterns a lot in, when you're dissecting a game, like there's patterns that'll happen throughout an event. And Vegas is a good example. It was super snake dominant, right?
Yeah.
Everybody is like so focused on the snake. Well, guess what? That opened up opportunity for Corey Hall and A-Rod to go bulldozing down the Dorito side on Sunday, and then start focusing on that. And now all of a sudden LJ is able to make something break open on the snake side. And it is these patterns. That's why I always laugh when a layout comes out and people go, oh, this tournament's going to be won down the snake side. I just laugh, like, no, you don't know that. You have to wait and see how the teams play it. And it might look that way. That is the better side. But I guarantee you that a massive point is going to be won in the center or down the other side, and maybe even multiple points. And the whole dynamic might shift.
Yeah. Totally. And it's what's so great. Like, when you're talking to teams, like when you're coaching divisional teams, I know you guys have experienced this too. And they're like, well, what makes it so different? And then you're like explaining stuff. And then you get into another concept of like, actually, I have a perfect example to give you. So I was talking to this guy and he was like, what do we do about like, say you're getting shot off the break? And I was like, well, so like if you're shooting at someone off the break at a front guy and say he's running to the snake, for instance, and you shoot him off the break going to the snake, you can have a good guess that he's going to be frightened to run that again and he's going to go to the corner. So that's going to be your educated guess for the next shot, or the god or whatever it is.
So if you're the snake, I go back to the snake.
So that's what I was saying. I was like, but it's a little bit different at the pro level because like you're playing almost like reverse psychology because everyone is so far past those little intricacies that it's like you have to then like be like a step, like 2 steps ahead.
Like what I was saying in the beginning, it's like, okay, so they just shot me going off the break. They're not going to think I'm going, so I'm going to go again. Oh wait, no, they know I'm going to go again, so I don't go. Or what do I do?
Yeah. And so it's like, dude, it's that mind game, and it's funny because it's just like, and then also too, come Sunday, it's like who's going to make that one calculated risk that's going to win that 1 point, and that's like the whole match. Or it's like, I always use the baseball comparison that it's like, it's errors. It's just like if you make a mistake on that final game on Sunday, that one mistake is what could cost you the game. And like your paint has to be perfect. Your guns have to be perfect. Like every single thing, all 5 players on the field have to be elite, like playing really well and like strong. And just like, it's, there's so many elements into it as you get to the pro league.
Yeah, dude, you touch on something there that I just, for all the listeners out there, because I coach a lot of divisional teams, I show up and first point, their guns don't work. And so I grab it. Well, first of all, I hear them playing with it and like the eyes are skipping, the loader's not feeding, it's shooting 2 paintballs and then you hear it dry firing, but they're still playing with it. And afterwards I'm like, hey, dude, your gun's not working. They're like, what? Okay. That is first and foremost. You need to have working equipment always. And so then I'll grab their gun, I take it apart, and you could tell they haven't cleaned it in a month maybe. You know, there's old paint on it. You cannot succeed like that. You absolutely cannot. There's this myth that pros don't take care of their stuff.
Dude, we take care of our stuff on top of it.
All of the top pros, maybe some of the lower end pros that none of us know their names. Maybe they haven't taken care of it. I don't know. But the top pros, they take care of their stuff.
And if you know how to fix something, you bring it to someone that does.
Exactly. And growing up, I always, as soon as I would get home, I had a night every week. After every weekend, I had a specific night that was 100% for cleaning all my gear, making sure my gun was totally dialed in. Before every single practice now, I'm cleaning my gun.
Yep.
I clean it Friday night. I clean it Saturday night, and that's so crucial.
Dude, 100%.
Have fresh batteries, clean your gun, make sure you can shoot straight. If you can't do these things, you're already at a disadvantage. It's insane.
For sure. Yeah. And there's so many players that are playing at a disadvantage.
Yeah.
Even like when I was growing up at Bob Long's house, he had his shop there with all of his guns.
Of
I would go early and I would work on my gun in there and make sure mine's just crispy and shooting butter. And dude, it gives you a huge, huge advantage. It's your paintball gun. Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
Dude,
and that also brings up a good topic to add on to that. That like I know in that first podcast you guys did with Maddie, you were talking about like just how lawless it used to be, like with drinking. Yeah. Like people were just drinking like every night, and then now it's so competitive that like there's no room for that at all.
Zero.
And
that's right.
There are still players that are doing that, but like there's got to be some point that clicks in your mind, dude, that if you want to fucking be elite and you want to be on the pro level and you really do want it, like you can't have those things. And like I attribute drinking a beer and not caring for your body, like at the end of the night, to the same thing as like your gun not shooting straight. Or like if your trigger's messed up, or like if you have a hopper that's only working some of the points, like, dude, how, like, I don't want to come onto the field knowing that and then have to play Tyler Harmon or Marcelo Margot and know that like you guys have a fucking advantage over me. Like, or if I come out there, like maybe like a little hungover or like not my full self, or like I didn't put enough work exercising in prior to the event, that I'm gonna come out there and like maybe lose a gunfight or something, and then I want to know that was just pure me versus you, and you won that gun battle. Like I don't want to have to put that sole blame on myself for some other like handicap,
Totally.
And absolutely,
dude, it's
so important.
Yeah,
I mean, you have to be training hard for sure, dude.
So Kai, I have one last question for you. This is one we always like to get into, but being a professional paintball athlete, if you want it to become your main source of income, you have to do a lot of different things. You can't just play paintball. Some players do it, especially when you're younger. All of the travel that's included is you really can't put a price on that. So no matter what, it's great when you're young, but if you want something long-term, there's a lot of stuff you have to do. And you're a perfect example of that. For a long time, even in your pro career, you worked part-time jobs. You had a great gig over at Nordstrom's. And then I remember a couple of years ago, you finally 100% severed ties everywhere else and decided to go all in on building your own stuff. Can you kind of elaborate on that and explain what it takes to make paintball make it to where you're self-sufficient just through paintball?
Yeah. Like, so, I mean, and I kind of skipped this when we were talking about it. Like I put school on the back burner to follow this paintball career. And I was working jobs like, especially when I got on Ironman and those first years on Dynasty, I was making like basically nothing. Like, I'm still working jobs, and finally to the point, where I could get like to become, essentially like playing overseas, getting a little bit of money, doing clinics on a regular basis. And then also like, we do some BKI stuff here and there. But if you don't have that, like, I didn't finally be able to not stop working till the beginning of 2019 year with Ironman, or maybe it was 2018. I think it was the beginning of 2019. So this is the first, solid year and a half that I haven't been working at Nordstrom, and I still would go back there and work. Like last July and last Christmas, I worked there. It's very
but that's just
hard.
Extra like side gig money.
Yeah, it's kind of fun. I like working there actually. but like, yeah, it's demanding. Like even times right now, like, not a lot of the pro players are making a lot of money right now. A lot of people's, stuff is on hold because of us not playing, which is just, how it should be. But like, dude, it's even more so like you just have to be grinding and making sure that you're staying on top of it, and you're looking for other avenues to, help the sport and innovate, like as you innovate, and like what you guys are doing with this podcast, like you guys have been crushing it, doing so well and bringing so much to everyone. And you guys have just got like an amazing bullpen of people on the show. But we have to keep doing that stuff to like, to stay afloat and to stay relevant, and to, if you want to be successful and have paintball as a career, like you have to do this stuff. Dude, like I don't know how Ryan has done it for this long. Like, dude, I live with the guy, and he is like, dude, he's nonstop. Like, we'll be driving somewhere, and like, dude, I'm on my phone, but I also hate this thing. Like, I hate that, because it's like work. And honestly though, like, he's so good. Like, we'll be sitting there and like just driving, like to go surf or something like that, and then I'll see like a photo posted. I was like, dude, you posted that photo like before we went surfing? And I was like, dude, for me, I'm like waking up in the morning, drink a cup of coffee, I need to relax. If we go surf, like I'll think about it maybe while we're surfing, and then I'll come home and then I'll post the photo then. But like, he's so on top of it, and like that's how you have to be. And he's just like doesn't miss a beat with that, like, and still plays phenomenal and does so much for the sport. And like, that's a person, in my eyes, that does deserve, like, and you guys are doing it, like, and like people do, like Ronnie's an innovator, like Ron Gizons is just doing a really good job for the game, and like, taking advantage of just this digital age that we're in by doing like cool, like little digital things. And you guys are, have a really, really advanced podcast show going on with really, really heavy hitter people that have really insightful stuff to say, not just about paintball. And like, you combining all those elements and just seeing how we can innovate and elevate paintball and grow it is, I think, the biggest thing. And the people that are trying to do that are the people, obviously, that should reap the benefits. So, whether...
Well, thank you, Kyle, for saying that, man. Yeah. And dude, I'm so proud of you, dude. You're such a humble person and such a hungry person. Obviously, like I said, I knew you when you were a kid before any of all this, and I'm just so proud to see where you're sitting at now. And one of the things that I love so much about you, Kyle, is that you're just continuously growing. You're continuously learning. You're educating yourself in college. You're hungry. You're thriving. You're not settling. Even at the pro level, you play for impact. You're still thriving and going for more and working harder than you ever have. And that's what it takes to be in the seat that you're sitting in. For and sure. These people that want to do these things that you talk about, they wonder how it's done. Well, it's right here in front of your face, man. You got to really knuckle down, and you got to take chances, and you got to do the work, and you have to have passion the way that you have passion, Kyle. Yeah. So I'm just so proud of you, dude. Truly one of the most humble people playing the game, and we're just so honored to be your buddy and to be able to watch you grow the way you have, man.
Oh, yeah, dude, I love you guys too, and like,
good.
Yeah,
absolutely.
I have the utmost respect for every team I play on, especially the pro division. But like, I think it's like known that like, my heart has been with Dynasty. Like that's like that's like my family. That's where I've learned so much. I spent the most years, and like, it's funny. There was this photo. I can hold it up to the screen here.
Dude, yeah, baby, you're always part of the Dragon. You know
that. This photo here, for anyone that's watching it, I posted this because it was Brandon Short's birthday yesterday.
That's right.
My girlfriend was like, "You look so happy there," and I was like, "Dude, those are some of the best years of my life to this day." Like, So,
good.
And I
shout out to Shorty.
Yeah, his birthday. I'm actually headed out to Arizona tomorrow.
Shut up.
Yeah,
dude. Because we're gonna hang out.
Short's going out there. Scott Kemp, Kenny Rosenberg.
I know.
Nice.
Yeah, Short's out here right now. I'm gonna be. We're gonna link up this weekend and have some fun. So I'll get to see you soon.
Yeah, I'm headed out in the morning. I'm gonna meet up with Vic and eat breakfast and.
Oh, bro,
you should have to come through.
This is the best news I've heard all night. This is great.
I should have told you that when we first got on the phone. I don't know why I didn't think of that. Yeah.
Yeah, I'll see you soon,
I
pal.
still forget that you live in that you live in Arizona.
Dude, it's hot as hell out here, bro. It's so hot.
It's 111 degrees. Yeah, I looked last night at like 8 o'clock and it was like 109. I was like, oh man.
Yeah. But it's fun. It makes for some good conditioning, I'll tell you that.
I bet. Dude, you were insane, a Megalodon beast in the Pro Tour. Dude, I will attest, and like we talked about it after too, because the week before that, I was playing Scott. I knew it was going to be hot because we've been playing at that field a while. So I was jump roping in the backyard with like full sweatsuit on, just like as long as I could, because I knew it was going to be hot like that. And like, dude, nothing to take away from Keith. Like that guy is an athletic specimen, but you could tell like he got gas. Yeah. He wasn't ready for that. And like,
it was hot out there, and I was drinking Transfuse, so you can't lose when you drink Transfuse. You know what I'm saying?
I have 4 in my bag for this weekend. I know we're not going to be playing paintball, but it'll be good for hydrating.
There we go.
Definitely hydrating.
Yeah, dude, that stuff is so good. I've been loving it. It's like
it is,
dude. And you know what's crazy is like, I honestly, when I first got approached by them, and I was like, it's just like another gimmicky thing. I'll try it, whatever. And I tried it a couple of times, and the biggest thing that I noticed was like after whatever working out or playing paintball, like I felt like I still had energy to go do another workout. And I was like, dude, I never have energy like this. Like I felt fresh still, which was
so good, dude.
Yeah.
And people probably think we're just bullshitting, but dude,
it's like.
It is unreal what this stuff does.
I'm not even really like like he gives me some free products here. I will like speak it, but I'm like literally speaking on it out of like my own
it's amazing. Yeah.
Dude, and that's actually we forgot to talk about this, but I'm working for Carbon Paintball now.
Yeah, there we go.
But you know, I've always said and the reason I thought of this is because the Transfuse conversation. I've always kind of been like, man, I just really don't want to work for a paintball company, because I think of it as like, if you work, like, say you work at a gym, do you really want to actually go back for another workout? Like, it was kind of like that in my eyes. And I also just, nothing against any of like, you know, the certain teams or sponsorships I play against, but there's never been a product that I really like. I want to be like, hey, I can fully back your company, like, and be passionate about it. And honestly, like, dude, I've been using that carbon stuff for a long time, and like you guys know, like, especially like I thought those protective bottoms that they made are like one of the most innovative paintball designs just in general right now. And I think they just how they care so much about the products. When they hit me up with the opportunity to start doing like working with them and doing a lot of team sponsorship stuff, I was like 100% I'm down, because it's good stuff. And like, it's my style. Like, you know, I like at fashion, like I'm like a very simple guy, and that's kind of like Carbon's theme and their branding. And so, I'm
love that,
pretty
dude.
stoked to be.
Shout out to Carbon Paintball.
Yeah.
I love that, man.
Yeah. If you're a team, looking to get your team sponsored, hit me up. It's just
there we go.
Yeah, I was gonna say where. Okay, perfect. Yeah, where can everybody find you? Our Instagram,
carbonpaintball.com. Yeah.
Hit me with it again.
Spicka at carbonpaintball.com. That's my email.
Well, let's make sure that we know how to spell it, because your team couldn't spell your name right for the first event.
They did. You know, it's funny. Bart took blame for that too. He goes, "I'm sorry, you were in my phone as the wrong name, and I just looked at your name on my phone, dude." And Josh Howe has done that also. There's a lot of people always forget the C in my name for some reason.
Yeah, Spicka.
Yeah. So,
here it's a K.
Spicka, Spicka at carbonpaintball.com.
Hit him up, get dialed in with some Carbon Paintball, and help out Kyle. That'd be amazing.
And if you forget, just go to my Instagram.
Yeah, what about your Instagram? And obviously, most people here have that already. But Lyle Karen, where can they find your clothes? If you guys haven't seen Lyle Karen, I love your stuff, dude. I think I only have 2 shirts. I need to buy some stuff.
You need to get some more. I get you some. Get you a code for there too. So
okay, nice.
Yeah, I mean, it's like I've been really passionate about clothing, and I'm actually working on some stuff with Lamb.
PTG with Play the Game podcast.
Yeah, with PTG.
You're working,
yeah.
I
think I talked to Marcel a little bit about the clothing game before you guys got this started.
Yeah, you actually have helped us quite a bit with some of the back end stuff.
Like
we would love to do a collaboration with Lyle Karen. I'm just going to put it out.
We should do that. I'm down.
That'd be amazing.
But yeah, so I've been doing that. The clothing thing is something I've been really passionate about. I think that came from just being at Nordstrom and working there. But that's kind of something I've always thought about, like in the future of going down, the clothing and fashion route for our next career. But in the meantime, I've just kind of been dabbling and playing around with some stuff. And actually, you guys know a buddy of mine, Lamb, that just started playing paintball. And
dude, he's the man. Shout out to Lamb.
Really deep in the fashion game up in LA, and we're trying to work on making some clothing and a little project, me, him, and Mouse. So should have that out sometime in the near future. Yeah.
Well, keep us posted on that, and then everybody, you can go check out his clothing at lylekaren.com. Is that right?
Yep. Yeah.
Okay, perfect. And then also, if you have any questions, hit him up on Instagram at Kyle Spicka, and he can get you dialed in there.
Yeah. If you have questions about Gosling.
Kyle Gosling.
That's right.
Yep.
Yeah.
Kyle Gosling.
Gosling over here.
Someone just took, like the last 2 or 3 years, someone took the Kyle Spicka name. But it's funny, I actually know him because he's the only other Kyle Spicka that exists. And one time I think I was like just at the house board, and this was when I was younger, and I commented on his Facebook. I was like, I'm the real Kyle Spicka, and then he wrote it back. No, I'm the real Kyle Spicka, and like we talk here and there. He actually lives in Oceanside, which is
what?
For you guys that are not familiar, it's like 45 minutes north of me. I've never met him, but like it's just funny that like. Yeah. And I'll see like sometimes I'll run into like someone from San Diego that's like being followed by him, and I'm like, that's funny. He always messages me. He's like, you have no idea how many people ask me for free paintball gear.
Yeah, that's funny.
Yeah, it's great.
So be sure to follow him at Kyle Gosling, not Kyle Spicka.
Yeah, you can go ahead and forward any trolling messages to the other Kyle Spicka. Feel free.
Damn, dude, that's so
alrighty, dude. Well, shoot, we're gonna have to do this again sometime. This is awesome. Thank you so much for coming on.
Yeah, baby.
Kyle, we love you.
Yeah, dude. Love you too,
Kyle,
guys.
Man. You have the most inspiring story, dude. Thank you so much for coming on and sharing that, and everything you do for paintball, dude. You've been an inspiration for so many people, and we truly appreciate you coming on, brother.
Oh yeah, boys. Thanks for having me. I'm so proud of what you guys are doing.
Yeah.
Really succeeded in staying on it. Yeah.
Dude, you're the PTG fam now. Let's go.
There we go. I've been waiting.
Let's go, baby. Thank you so much, Kyle.
Thank you, guys. And I'll see you this weekend, Tyler.
Yeah, let's go, Mr. Rager.
Yeah. Getting some mischief.
Yeah.
Later,
all right, brother.
All right, boys.
Peace.
Later.
Later, dude. Oh, baby. What a legend, man. That was a fun one. Absolutely love Kyle. And I'm stoked. I actually get to see him in the next couple days. We'll be hanging out with him and Brandon Short in the Arizona area celebrating Brandon Short's birthday. So I'm super stoked about that. Thank you guys so much for tuning in and hanging out with us. We cannot even begin to convey how much this means to us that you support us and listen and hang out with us and have a good time on this paintball adventure that we've created. We're super honored to be able to have this platform and share all these stories with you guys. And, just very grateful to be a part of this community in all reality. The paintball community is such a beautiful one, and we love it with all of our heart, and we want to nurture it and make sure that all these stories get told for many years to come. So thank you guys for helping us do that. If you want to support the show, you can head over to ptgpodcast.com. That is ptgpodcast.com. And you can check out all the podcasts, some of our YouTube shows. Check out the partners that we work with and have some information on there. If you want to check out the store, we have some merch up for grabs, and that would help us out tremendously. We really appreciate that. And also, huge shout out to our Patreon supporters. We actually are giving discounts to our Patreon supporters, 20% off of our online store, and also merchandise that we have for sale on our personal Instagrams. Can't thank you guys enough for everything you're doing for us, and absolutely love you guys. And we have also content that you can't find anywhere else on our Patreon as well if you sign up for that. So thank you guys out there. And the website is actually brought to you by Rusty Glaze at constantpursuit.com. He's doing amazing things in the paintball landscape. If you're a paintball field or a store, definitely hit up Rusty and have him make you a website. It's the cleanest, most effective way to give your clients a really nice, elegant looking, clean cut platform for them to enjoy and navigate as they look at your company or your store and it's a huge boost for you guys to help out in the paintball community. If you support Rusty, we definitely want to make sure that he's taken care of. So we're really grateful that he made our website. So you can check him out at constantpursuit.com. And if you have any questions, DM us at Play the Game Podcast on our Instagram or on our Facebook. And we cannot wait to keep bringing these shows to you guys. Thank you so much once again for tuning in. And let's keep living that PTG lifestyle. Thank you.